talk and then flow into it and then just chop the rest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just come into it however we need to.
You just gotta get you a little intro here. You gotta hear it.
Yeah, I got you. Turn that motherfucker off real quick.
I'm proud of y'all boys though, man. I don't know nobody doing shit like this. Except y'all. It's kinda cool.
Well, then you start, if you start going around and looking and seeing who's doing podcasts, and sometimes you'd be like, how is this dude doing this? It's because it's a
You know
game.
who has one? Brad Luttrell.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Well, I've consulted Brad a lot.
What does Brad do for a living? I can't remember.
He started some kind of fish and wildlife app.
So
or
he worked at like a media company or marketing company or something, and then he launched an app where
Oh yeah, I remember you saying
called
that.
Go Wild or whatever.
Yeah,
so
Go Wild.
I
looked it. I saw it. Yeah, I forget.
And I'm like, I didn't even know a dude like to hunt and fish and stuff. You know what I mean?
either.
Like,
I never really knew Brad like that. I think
I know he was in my grade. He played shortstop, I think.
Oh, he
for
was
like Dairy Queen, I want to say, in Little League.
Yeah.
see, John be going back a little.
You a year under me too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you was in Vaughn's grade.
I was in your grade, and I actually held back. Me and Rashad both held back.
Rashad Cloud.
We both kind of held back, fell back. You know what I mean? Whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
The one we thought we was going pro and stuff.
All right, for sure. Well, welcome everybody. It's Way Too Much podcast. It's your boy right here, Johnny Gators, man. John Cox there. Got Mike Howard in the building. Just came to talk to y'all today about life issues, bullshit. I guess whatever we want to talk about. Me myself, I'm a musician. One of the hosts of this show, producer of this show, dad, father. That's the same thing, isn't it? Fucking a husband, and just trying to get out here and have a little conversation with a few people, see what's on people's minds. But I'm gonna turn the floor over to Mike and let him introduce himself.
Name's Mike Howard. Guess I'm a husband and a father first. Drive a forklift by trade. Most likely for wages and stuff. Just to get money. And but my newest passion is trading, and finance. So that's basically all I think about these days is basically finance, stocks and bonds and futures and that kind of thing. Husband and father first. Got 2 boys, wife of 12 years. My oldest boy is 17, the youngest boy is 12. Both really, really good children, studious. They slack off from time to time, but I think right now, currently, they're both on the honor roll. Just some really good kids. Loving wife, Yvonne. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. She's in healthcare, and we just scratching and surviving, man. Trying to do us.
Word. That's all of us, I think. Obviously, for those of y'all that don't know, I guess I'll put this out here. That's my cousin, and probably my best friend. John Cox happens to be one of my other great friends growing up. So yeah, it's a family affair today. I also got my boy over here outside the camera view, my boy Fo. So shout out Chicago too, But I'll turn it over to John, let him do his thing too.
So guys, my name is I'm John Ross Marcus Cox. I'm gonna go by all 4 names. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I ain't gonna give y'all all the lowdown on myself. I think Mike, they're gonna give y'all their address and everything. Cell phone number, social security number, and all that.
Hey, look me up, man.
They're gonna put it all out there. Just like them, no husband, father. I got 4 beautiful little kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, all under 10. Good buddies going all the way back. I sell insurance for a living, so we all three doing some boring stuff. So we trying to I guess spruce it up a little bit, spice it up a little bit,
something like
get
that.
back to like our roots a little bit. And at the moment, I'm kind of what do you call I'm a trailer park politician or something, I guess. So that's why we down here in Frankfurt right now doing this stuff. So yeah, we're trying to change the conversation a little bit, talk about some stuff that matters in a different way, and hopefully bring some value to the marketplace of ideas here.
Word.
No doubt.
Value to the marketplace. Ideas change the world. So we definitely gonna put some of those up. Some of them might be stupid. Some of them might be high ideas. Some of them might be great.
A lot of high ideas.
Some of them might be like life changing. Some of them might be political. Some of them you're not gonna like. Some of them you're gonna love. But just
whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be way too much, right?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be way too much.
I think here's been my biggest thing the whole time is that like we started politics and we try to go downstream from that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But in real life, like politics is downstream from culture.
For sure.
So if we want to change politics or change the narrative there, we got to change culture first. So we got to bring people together and
that's it.
Show people that it ain't weird to like be in the same room together and being vulnerable
sure.
and
facts.
Maybe putting out some stupid ideas and getting called out. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
gotta be around people
you
that you gotta be around people that you trust that are going to have your best interest at heart, and hopefully we can have some conversations other people ain't willing to have.
I know that's
for sure.
right. I know that's right.
And make it a little easier for them. You know what I mean?
Where you want to start at?
For me, listen, I've been telling you, I've been wanting to get together with Mike for a long time. So I was want to know,
man.
I just want to know how you go.
It's literally been 20 years, like literally since I've set eyes on this dude. So
and that's what's crazy about like when you grow up, when you go through stuff together. It's like I literally feel like I feel like we was headed to Old Bell High for like a basketball game yesterday. But it's like I think it's I'm just interested in how things is going for him and how you go from forklift to trading stocks. So me and you were always talking about, John, how like what we think about ourselves ain't how other people see us.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Mike keeps talking about being a forklift driver or whatever. I think about The Big Short. When I think Mike Howard, I think The Big Short because I know he was doing day trading and stuff. And I'm like, that's like rocket science to my country.
Listen, I am just a newbie at this. I'm a noob in the market. Basically, I'm driving a forklift. Been doing it for a few years now, for about 4 years now. And the whole shit crashed. Everybody knows coronavirus happened, So I'm looking at my wife, and I work through temp services most of the time, because I like, for the most part, I like the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I can come and go as I please. I don't work for y'all. I work for the temp service. You know what I'm saying?
You're a contractor, baby. So
basically, it's kind of like a contractor. You know what I'm saying? I don't get any of the amenities, the benefits or any of that, but it doesn't never really matter to me or whatever.
Yeah.
The days off. It's basically if I want some money, I'm going to work.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or if y'all need me, I'm going to work. And if you don't need me, that's fine too. And sometimes I quit at the drop of a hat because of, like for instance, I haven't worked in the past 6 weeks because of some family issues and shit. And I quit that job at the drop of a hat. I don't care what, my family come first. You know what I mean? Like straight up. So, I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. You know what I mean? I had some reserves in the tank. You know what I mean? But, just right now I'm just trying to get back to trading. And like I said, when the coronavirus shit happened, I'm looking at my wife like, draw some of that 401k out. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get by. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This was before they ever said that we was gonna get money and stuff for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I learned that her 401k had basically been tricked off with the rest of the market.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was like, damn, bro, like, they tricking your shit off. And you don't even know it. Dude, you see what I'm saying?
Tricking your own shit off.
Yeah, you could be tricking your own shit off at the very least. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, at the very least, bro.
I think one thing that's interesting is like all three of us have kind of we've so we ain't went from nothing to the NBA or nothing like that, but we've lived multiple lives, you know what I mean, in different, different arenas, you know what I mean? It's like,
Facts.
we've been in, some of us been in trouble, some of us been broke, some of us been all, and so, but we've seen all this stuff, like now that I've been in the insurance now since I was like, I don't know, 21, so like 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And, one thing when it comes to investing, one thing I've thought is like, man, this stuff ain't meant for the common person. Like currently the way you were talking about earlier about how you gotta have a big chunk of change or you gotta be let it sit, and I'm like, that ain't real life for most people, you know. So like I'm going here, and I had my Series 63 for a while, and trying to tell like someone like us, put some money in this mutual fund. It's got like they're a 20-year return of 2 or 3%, and I'm like, but you could lose it all though. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think normal people.
And you can lose it all for the 2 and 3% return.
Yeah, so
that's ludicrous.
So like the company that I was at that we were contracted with, we used BlackRock, and it was like they would send out their things. It was like it was like from 97 through 2017, the average mutual fund was making a 2.3% return on investment over a 20-year period, and I'm like, dude, like people can lose it all to get 2%. I mean, that's all mutual funds. That was like that. So that was, we're talking personal, big personal buys. We're talking about institutional buys. All it's like 2 or 3%. And I'm like, I can't tell anybody to risk all that for 2%. You know what I mean?
And that's just the you could hustle more than that and better than that if you just dived in and if you dove in and really understood it. And try to understand it with a passion because it's your money.
Yeah.
Period. You see what I'm saying? And it will lead. It has limitless potential, and it could possibly lead you to financial freedom quicker than giving it to somebody else. So that's why there's been an explosion of retail traders from 2020 to 2022. You see what I'm saying? Because they realized, hey, I can do a lot better with my money than you can do with my money because you're just doing what you do, taking yours out. You see what I'm saying? And by the time that I lose it all, you've already took from me so many times that you're not really losing.
Yeah. You
get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But then you talk about the 401k stuff. I started doing some research on 401ks, and I'm like,
it's like, bad news,
the reason
man.
I'm like 401ks weren't like the concept wasn't created for normal people. But then what's happened is in this like 24-hour cycle of, and I remember like 7-8 years ago starting to think like, how do we continue growing this economy when we're already in a 24/7 economy? Like, so we got multiple shifts going around the clock. We're going 7 days a week. You know, like from the 50s to 60s, you had, at the mid-century or whatever, like you had large segments of the population to bring into the workforce that wasn't in it. So growth was like, at first all it was like white dudes.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well, then we started letting like black dudes work. They coming in, so it looks like the economy is going up, and then we brought women into it, and like, so it's like I'm like, are we really growing, or are we just letting more people in? And so now they're not getting growth in other ways. So now they got to start taking poor people's money, and like making them think they're gonna make money on it when they really ain't gonna make.
It's my daddy told me a long time ago, follow the money, and I'm just now starting to do that. Whenever you want to know what's wrong with something, anything, all you have to do is follow the money. Period. And it's always got something to do. At the end of the rainbow, there's a pot of gold. Trust me on that. And it's how it is for every situation, almost every facet of life. You see what I'm saying? If you're looking for a problem, or like for instance, we know that to make money, you solve the problem. You see what I'm saying? For instance, in the market, I started out thinking I could do day trading. Learned that I couldn't do that. I'm not wealthy enough. You gotta have 25,000 at the very least. So, which led me to long-term investing. I quickly realized that I couldn't let the money actually sit. You see what I'm saying? And the stock market at the very time, between 20 and 22 was very volatile. So there were people that I was following that were building long-term portfolios, but I had no interest in that. So the next thing is, how do I hustle? And I learned that options is the hustle. When you are feeling you're providing a need, there's people out there that want to buy 100 shares, and they are building a long-term portfolio. And if you are key enough and you learn, the TA, which is the technical analysis and the breakdowns of these charts, to be able to try to, predict the patterns, then, because that's all it is basically these charts and stuff, they tell stories about how much and how things are sold. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically all these charts are. So once you understand and can read the charts and can understand the story for yourself, then you can kind of predict the outcome of some of these stocks, ETFs, so on and so forth, futures, commodities, cryptocurrency, which is less volatile than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, that's basically where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? And the rabbit hole is, trust me, deep. There's probably kids right now that's 19 years old trading stocks.
Well, see, I was gonna say, what I keep hearing, when I'm hearing you talking about needing that 25 grand to get started, that's where I feel like this conversation stuff can be beneficial. I think it would be with the young bucks. You know what I mean? Because really, what happened is we're figuring this stuff out now. But if we'd had somebody tell us when we was 18, like, Stop thinking this or here's where life starts. You know what I mean? I can't, if I had all the money back I spent on car payments.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I got a job maybe like 35 grand. I'm like,
or rent.
Yeah, or rent. Yeah, or rent.
Or rent. Alone. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like,
but it's like, instead of going out and buying a house at 18, my parents had made me think that what the status symbol that you made it was that you had like a new truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or like, so like I wasn't even thinking about appreciating assets, or so now I'm like 30, I'm 35, but at 36, and I'm wanting to do those things. As a parent, if my parents would have been less focused, my mom would have been less focused on like us liking each other, instead of instead being like, here's how you need to handle your money.
Mm-hmm.
Then like maybe we had that 25,000.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Right now, I mean. Your dad was in the picture, but he was still on the road a lot. Like, I don't know where your dad was. My dad wasn't anywhere in the picture, so it's like.
Yeah, you don't know a lot about my pops, man. I grew up with my granny and my grandfather. Yeah, I'm real close with him today and shit. But back then, it was just some weird shit going on. But he did. I can't say this. He did, get clean and sober for me. And my mother was more straight. Y'all had where y'all would have. Estranged, pops. I would have a strange mother. That would be my, deal.
Okay, got you.
But
like,
just to mention that,
But like culturally and fundamentally, I do feel like the father. There's a father. You talk about father. You talk about fatherhood. I'm talking about that. Really is the crux of, I think, most issues are just like getting back to.
Absolutely, the power of the father, the resilience of the father, just sheer determination, the commitment values, just, what I'm saying, protector, provider. We gotta as, and this is black or white, you know what I'm saying, we gotta get back to, real solid fathers, everybody being kings in their own right.
Well, this is when John is trying to do a good job of, said I tend to go toward the racial competition more than he does, but so much of this stuff it really is like, it's across the spectrum. We let bad actors paint it certain ways, like we let certain people paint it as like a black father problem.
Yeah.
If you're poor.
When that ain't the case.
No.
If you're poor, it don't matter what fucking color you are.
Yeah, but it's like, if we walk down the street, somebody would assume, if you're black, your daddy wasn't around, but he's white, got a blazer on, so his was.
Yeah.
Well, mine was the one getting the booger sugar out of a sock drawer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But only people that are making those judgments are the people who haven't been poor.
Yeah.
Because if they were poor, then they would know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy to judge a motherfucker when he ain't never had to walk 2 feet in his fucking steps. You know what I'm saying?
But see, then the other problem is the people that are saying that. Like, let's say I was doing this show on my own and I was trying to make the case like this is a socioeconomic problem when that looks like I'm whitewashing it. Problem. You know what I mean? So the issue is we don't have real people talking.
But it actually is though a socioeconomic problem in every aspect because on one hand we haven't ever America has never actually tried to solve the racial inequality problem. Even though there are white people that are disenfranchised, the majority of disenfranchised are black. Like for instance, what you were talking about with the school a minute ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, in Louisville. You know what I mean? So the policies and all of that stuff, they obviously are affected. And the funny thing about it is there's going to be some speckles in there where it's affecting white kids too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's going to be like a grain of salt in a sea of
comparatively.
You get what I'm saying? Comparatively speaking.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying? So and I believe that that's one of the reasons that the powers that be hold on to that. They say, well, there's white people that's disenfranchised too. You see what I'm saying? And so it's actually a socio-economic in.
That's why nothing ever gets done because people are too busy
fighting about
arguing about that.
Yeah.
You know
that tidbit. You see what I'm saying?
Like, who gives
a fuck?
It's like the gun issue. Like everyone needs to fucking suck it up, Buttercup, and understand guns are here to fucking stay. They're here.
Facts.
You need one, and it's the way it is. I'm not like no fucking pro gun motherfucker. My dad, my brother, all them are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even own a fucking gun. You know what I'm saying? But still,
not no more.
Yeah.
You've been
not now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm just saying. I'm saying in a perfect world, you don't need a gun. This is not a perfect world, and as long as there are militarized police and National Guard fucking rolling up on motherfuckers like on corners and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Fucking armored trucks. Like, why does the police force need an armored truck? You tell me why motherfuckers
There's too many guns.
Tell me why. No.
There's too many. There's too much access to high-powered equipment.
See, that's wrong.
Why else would a police officer need an armored truck?
No. There's too many guns because motherfuckers got armored trucks.
I know, yeah. The more advanced the police state gets, like the higher they raise the bar, then the higher the
more shit you gonna get.
I don't know, man.
Do you think you feel safer? You feel safer with the police having a tank, or with Johnny having a 45?
With Johnny having a 45. I understand. I can dig it.
You know what I'm saying? To me, that's a pretty simple concept. Like,
I can get around.
I don't understand why. Like, did you see the shit that happened yesterday? The guy shot up the subway in New York.
I saw that.
I don't want to talk about it too much because I did not do any research.
Yeah. I ain't either, but I definitely saw it on there. Actually, we can turn it on if y'all want because it's live everywhere. Trust me on that.
I read one article.
President done spoke on it and everything.
I read one article, and it said that the guy went down there.
They showed his picture and everything. James White or something like that.
I don't even know his name.
Yeah.
But I heard the story, read the article, but of course I've been smoking, so I forgot his name. But when I read the details, immediately I just kept thinking, like, this is the wrong guy. I know that's a conspiracy theory, and I ain't even trying to be a conspiracy theorist.
I don't know, man.
But I'm saying, they said that motherfucker dropped his credit card.
And they said that he left a U-Haul that he rented at the scene of the crime.
I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist.
And the keys.
I'm saying that
and the keys on the motherfucking platform of the subway.
If he dropped his credit
what
card,
kind of shit is that?
He's the dumbest criminal of all time.
Listen, the way they're speculating it happened. They said he dropped his keys on the platform that was to a U-Haul that they got around this black man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, but I don't know if it's the wrong guy or not. All I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't want to speak on it.
That's what I said.
You're right, but that's what I know about it, though.
But
you know what I'm saying?
when I heard the story, I was
old
like,
black guy. But
is this a Ryan Reynolds
listen,
comedy?
bro. They
That's what I
said
thought.
he got content out talking shit.
That shit was retarded.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
only
Talking
mentioned it to say this.
Now, did they take the
said they got
content?
3,500 police officers that work the subways of New York City. 3,500 cops.
That's a nut.
That's a lot of cops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they just hired like 1,000.
But the subway is huge though, right? It covers the whole city.
Listen to me.
You know, right? I mean, is it?
They just hired.
They're not all at once either.
Think about per capita though. You know, in the area that the subway covers. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that it's even just too many. I'm literally talking about
It's the number.
the numbers. They got 3,500 police officers.
Yeah.
1,000 of them, of which they just hired like in the last few months, because they're talking about motherfuckers jumping the toll and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this motherfucker literally had to go through this motherfucker and pay. He obviously paid, otherwise
He'd have been
you
suspicious.
motherfuckers clearly aren't doing your jobs, right?
Facts. 1,000 you motherfuckers ain't did your jobs. The 1,000 new motherfuckers that's
The 3,500 of you. There's 3,500 of you.
Nah, but look though, if a motherfucker
You
say
can't just
2,500,
bring
listen, 2,500 y'all motherfuckers couldn't stop these motherfuckers from jumping this motherfucker, so we had to hire 1,000 more motherfuckers.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? So that means 1,000 of you niggas should only be dedicated on this one cause. You had one job, so he obviously paid.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
said.
the
You must have.
conclusion.
Yeah,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
My
obviously
That shit was
paid.
one
ridiculous.
response back to the number of people and all
Those
that
motherfuckers,
is
that's just a lot of cops.
like, do we really want police?
Hell yeah.
But I said, do we really want police police in toll booths? You know what I mean? Like,
Not 3,500 of them.
Yeah.
No,
Like-
no, I wouldn't want
That's
to
what I
pay
was
for
saying.
that. I wouldn't
Like,
want to pay
it's
for that.
too
But,
many.
but what I'm saying though is there's a lot of rapes. I'm assuming that occur in subways as well. There's a lot of dope being sold. Which I don't personally give a fuck about the dope. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of bullshit homeless motherfuckers be pushing motherfuckers on the subway. You know what I'm saying? They'll just
I'm not
walk by
saying-
and push
I'm
your ass
not
on the
saying that
platform and
there's
shit
not
as a
crime
play.
and shit.
It's all kind of weird shit going on, bro, in New York, bro.
I ain't
I'm
saying
just
that,
saying,
bro.
I ain't even
But that's
justifying
weird.
all that. I'm not trying to
That's too
justify
weird
it.
to believe.
I'm just saying that it's all kind of weird shit going on too.
It definitely is some weird shit going on. In the
Yeah,
world.
but this motherfucker obviously had an agenda and was like being sneaky.
100.
You know what I'm saying? He was on some
that's
sneaky
the other
shit.
point.
You get what I'm saying?
That's the part. That's
He
the other
obviously
thing.
paid, bro, because if he didn't pay and 1,000 motherfuckers didn't let him slide. You get what I'm saying? So if he paid and he did all of that shit,
Stupid.
he
You took all that time to plan that shit out.
the one thing I'll say is I think those kinds of crimes, like, the more strapped you are as a society, I do think the less likely it is that you see those top
you hear it?
those top things. Like,
Is that pro gun?
I just think it's
What's that?
pro reality, maybe. I guess.
Well,
You know what I mean?
saying?
But that's why I
you
think
see what I'm saying? You hear what he just said? You said you wasn't necessarily pro gun, but what he said was if there was a lot more motherfuckers that'd pull a gun on you, if they seen you with a gun,
I literally just
You see what I'm saying?
I literally was just talking about how everyone should have a gun. And
No, yeah, that's
I'm just saying.
But so is that pro gun? Am I pro? Am I a pro gun nigga? Now?
I'm not anti-gun,
for
but that
sure.
doesn't make
We've
you
already
pro-gun.
established that.
but that doesn't make you pro-gun.
Nah,
Like,
we're not saying that. But what I'm saying
you are
is,
saying that's what you just asked me.
this is the point that I'm asking.
You asked me,
Are
am
we
I
pro-gun?
No.
Because we would say
No.
that.
Why do I have to be in your box?
Well, look, here's what I'm trying to say though.
Why do I got to be in your box?
So in my time,
But that means if you
I'm saying why the literal hold on because
if
this-
motherfuckers have
no
private guns,
this is literally the whole entire point of the show is to tell people and talk to people and let you know that there is not a one or zero or A and B. It don't got to be one or the other. That's what you tried to.
No,
you tried
I'm
to
not. I'm
with.
asking. And
I just
myself,
told you no.
And does that make me pro-gun if I want everybody to have a gun? If
I'm going to become the moderator in this thing, I think.
See what I'm saying?
I think here's what I'm getting out of this. That's I think while we're doing the podcast, this whole coming into any situation that I'm like pro whatever is the wrong way of looking at it. So like, I think right now, politically speaking, everybody comes in with a premise, and then it's on
what the pro-gun is.
And then it's on everybody else to like try to
well, what is pro-gun?
Try to convince you off to get you off that. Even if your opinion is rooted in nothing, right. It's like you expect other people to convince you otherwise. Instead of coming in and admitting your ignorance on it, right. And saying like, you know what?
I am ignorant to pro-gun and anti-gun. So what is pro-gun, anti-gun? You said I'm not pro-gun. I don't even know. I wouldn't be able to describe myself as pro-gun or anti-gun. You see what I'm saying? I would say because I don't know what that definition is politically. You know what I'm saying? But I tell you one thing. I agree with what you said. If there was more motherfuckers that could pull a gun on you, you see what I'm saying? Then on the subway, the average motherfucker had a pistol.
There's like 3 times more.
You see what I'm saying? So when a motherfucker get to busting, motherfuckers, you got 7 motherfuckers that's gonna be busting back at that dude.
There's 3 times the
amount of
guns than there are people in the United States right now. It's not are there enough gun problem?
Ain't enough shooters, I guess, dude.
Well, but look, there's that many guns, but the guns for the most part are concentrated in southern states and certain populations, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and then they use to be anti-gun. They'll talk about like Southside Chicago or something, and I'm like, but the variables are changing. Like if we all know like if you're already in trouble on something, if you're already doing certain things, you're gonna be less likely to be deterred from doing something else.
That's true.
It's like that alone to me what would take things in the right direction in like that type in like an area like that would be, let's get people away back to where they ain't underneath a rap sheet. So you know what I'm saying, like
there you go. And so they're able to carry their gun. They're able to protect themselves.
The whole point I was trying to make was that people need to get over the fact that even arguing about whether guns should be the issue. That's not the issue.
It's already there.
The issue is, how do you have people have guns and we handle them as safe as possible? Facts. That's the problem. That's all I was trying to get to.
Well, he was leaning more into who can have guns.
Well, that's the thing.
And how many people can have guns.
Everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Well, unless you're a felon, though.
Listen to me. Everyone should be able to have one. If you want to take people's guns away because they're a felon, you take away their gun for a lot of time while they're a felon, and you let them come back off, and you re-educate them the way you're supposed to, and you let them get their shit back for their protection because they're a person just like you.
Facts.
That's where I stand.
I agree.
Because that's where it is. Well, that's the real deal.
The best way to get people, like, you don't rehabilitate people by taking away more and more of their own agency. Facts. You know what I mean? They gotta have more ownership in their lives. Like having to go and apply for, if you do your time, whatever, and you get out and you go to apply for a job. I mean, minus maybe if you've done some kind of violent, say you've been like rape or murder or something like that. But short of that, if you did time for drugs or whatever, like, why should you have to tell people that so they can 100%. Judge you before they even know you? You know what I mean? Now again, so what ends up happening is they have to say that, and then you extrapolate that out into society. And as a business owner, if I got people applying for jobs, is it more likely that like a white dude who went to college comes in has someone on his sheet or a black guy? Most likely the black guy. Is it because of black people are bad? No, it's because of
the demographics.
What they're getting picked up for and how many police are in their neighborhood.
We know that.
The fact that like we just don't think about how things are gonna play out, you know, like long term. So even if they were to say you have to interview X amount of minorities, as long as I'm running criminal background checks on every single person I'm going to employ,
right,
and I'm going to be able to see everything that any of them's done since they was 18 years old, like, who's more likely to get the job regardless of qualifications?
It's simple.
So, like, that's the, to me, I just think we're having to admit that, and this is what's tough for people that are just down the street from us in the Capitol building, that we've got so much stuff wrong. We gotta get back to literal fundamentals. We can't even be talking about these, like
what I was saying earlier. More fathers. As a father, if you have a family to protect under any circumstances, you should be qualified to own a gun. Now, I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of fathers that have mental issues and things of that nature.
You should have to pass tests.
You should have to pass.
You should have to
they should set education and things of that up.
I don't see why it's a big deal for everybody.
But it shouldn't be rolled off just because a father is in a home. He might be a felon, and he don't have the ability to protect his own fucking house.
Well, because his children know that.
Yeah.
His children, they know that. Then subconsciously, my dad can't protect me the same way that some other dad
that
can.
The police can.
Yeah, or whatever. And so it changes it's a game of like power dynamics, power struggle. So, crime and stuff like that's something we have talked about. I mean, we've talked about what issues are going to be important to us, and like again, I think we're looking at fundamental. Like, I ain't worried about tax rates at this time in like our society. Like, if my state taxes go down 1%, I ain't really worried about. But it's like it ain't sexy to get in here and talk about. Okay, what do we do to help increase the number of fathers to stick around? You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna be sexy resolutions. It's gonna be stuff that like you gotta hash it out, trust the process. It's like little things. You know what I mean? Another one for me, it's been education. Just kind of shift gears.
Yeah,
like I came down here trying to like end all the coronavirus stuff on kids. Like in Jefferson County, we're still testing kids every day if they want to be in the chess club, right? Like kids were masking up all over the place, and like everyone was acting like it was okay, but to come back to that number, it's like in Louisville, y'all don't even know about this because y'all haven't lived somewhere like where private schools have a huge footprint. Where we come from, ain't got no private schools, so everybody's public. So everybody's like forced into it. In Louisville, through all this, what's happened is so many more affluent families and white families, like if they got fed up with it, mine included. My kids were going public. It was important to me, but like I didn't want my kid having to mask up and getting in trouble for not being. For being too close to kids, so like we homeschool, but guess what? We can do that. You know what I mean? Like so now you got kids that were on this NTI stuff, and it was mostly minority children. Now obviously, yes, there was a ton of white kids too. Yeah. But like at the end of the day, who are our policies affecting? So this fight that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are having about mask or no mask, what's it actually doing? It's actually keeping black kids out of classrooms. Lowering literacy rates in Louisville. It's like I said somewhere, and I'm throwing this number out there.
Oh, shit.
I'm gonna try to be conservative, but it's like it's no higher than like a 60% literacy rate. Right. I think it's actually lower than that though. Like kids that are reading grade level. All right, and so
in Louisville,
in the public school system,
it's lower.
No, I'm almost positive it's extremely lower. Yeah. But I said I'm trying to be 30. Okay, so it was 38%. I think is what I saw the other day.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's horrible, man.
So it's like people were coming to me like you were being insensitive to the sickness and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm being the most sensitive dude in the room because like life ain't. It's not. We don't live in a vacuum. We gotta like we are evaluating risk all day, and like what's more risky for a kid that grows up, like we did.
Yeah.
Being like we talked about how young we were when we started like having sex and getting exposed to drugs and like is that like if we'd have been out of school at 8, it might have happened like all that stuff for me was 12, 13, whatever. Like I'm embarrassed of it with my own spouse. I'm embarrassed of her that she knows that now because like she's a good person. You know what I mean? But like
yeah, I'm a firm believer, man. Everything you went through, man, make you, man. That's how I fucking rock, dog.
But I'm saying like we don't think
the bad and
we're
the
not
ugly.
thinking about like how things are playing out. And
I know that's true.
Then
and you want to plan them out for your future, which is your children, your offspring.
But it's like, and then kids weren't in school. And I coach football in Louisville. Youth football, the Louisville Youth Football League is legit. I mean, it's like, we was hoping kids we had enough practice to run a practice. We got 24 teams for 6 to 8 year olds. But like, you got all these kids that are not being in school, but our sign-ups for football is exploding, right? But it's because like these people, let's just say like I consider where you grew up now like pretty much the hood. You know what I mean? I go to the west end of Louisville and it's like it's Millsboro, Kentucky, as far as like culture and who's like.
I've been telling motherfuckers that for ages,
and
man.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So I would have parents on the team that were like hated the fact that I was like, I ain't wearing a mask in practice. Your kids need to be able to see, because we'd have kids driving the west end out to the east end to play football. I'm like, your kids need to see they need to see my emotions. They need to see that like I'm screaming loud all the time. They need to know I don't hate them because I'm different than what they're seeing. They don't. Some of these kids ain't around white dudes at all. Like,
and the white dudes that they are around are old fashioned, or they get their values from something different than what you get your values from, which is because like I say, even though we from the mountains, man, it's like we're culturally different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Than a lot of the counterpart. Now, mind you, it's the same policies. Don't get it fucked up. It could be racist. It's racist as fuck in Millsboro. You know, it always has been, and probably will be long before any racism is stamped out in any part of the country. You know what I'm saying? Because Millsboro's always like 15 years behind everybody else. But the area that we grew up in, that Magic City, man, is a different type of area.
Racism
it prepared you for
me, I feel like it's
Louisville. You did what I'm saying.
It's like, more of like a raw racism down there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's still like an old school. Like somebody's racist, they just putting a hard R on the N word.
Yeah, that's all. I mean? Which is just bigotry.
You're
really.
Like Sunday.
That's not racism. Racism in itself is being able to control policies that disenfranchise a motherfucker because of the color they skin.
Yeah.
That's what racism is.
But we're not. It's like
you ain't gonna get backhanded.
You don't have straight up institutionalized stuff between like whites and blacks there because all of us.
I can respect that.
All of us are broke. You know what I mean? And so it's a different type of it. But like, so I had those parents that were like, mad about that I was trying to end mass stuff in schools, and I'm like, it's because y'all don't understand. Like, why is your kid playing football? It's because you know it's important, right? Yeah. So like, the public school stuff ain't important to you because you can afford to send your kid to private, and then you ain't even thinking about the fact that that your kid has a choice of what they're doing in there. But like, the kids that don't have that choice are having to go to the public school, and like, I ain't even trying to talk trash about the teachers and stuff. No. My mom's a teacher. I'm not even trying to say that, but like. Reality is reality. So like again, like if you're making kids wear masks and you're making them stay 6 feet apart, tell me how many black dudes, all four of y'all, how many of y'all can stay 6 feet apart from somebody for longer than like a few minutes?
It's damn near impossible.
So it's like, who's gonna be the one getting in trouble in school when you gotta be standing up? Like, you're already being told you're bad at school all day because you're dudes. And you're like loud and don't want to sit down. Like, my conduct rates are terrible. But again, like when I talk about the black and white issues, me and you could have the same activity in class, me talking, you talking, us disrupting. You're still getting punished more than me.
Listen.
And so
you want to solve an ADHD problem in the motherfucking public schools, you get these kids in the STEM. You get them more involved in science, technology, engineering, and math. You push these STEM education more than you push all of that other bullshit.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So we're getting education up here.
More than you push that language arts. So I'm gonna keep you pushing that language arts. You pushing that history. You pushing that bullshit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Push that science, technology, engineering, and math, and that'll get his head attracted to something.
So that's what started bringing me down here. All right, was this like the coronavirus? I'm like. First of all, we had 11 kids die for coronavirus the entire 2-year period. Right, 11. That's with it, not from it.
Really?
All right? And
that's
so with it, not from it. We don't even know how many had
I didn't know that. They put it on more like it was the kids and the old people dying.
They made you think that kids was in the hospital. I'm like,
yeah, all kind of shit.
And so like So it's like, first of all, that's the number. All right, it's 11 for over 2 years with it. It's 0 to 19. So 11 people from 0 to 19 died with coronavirus for 2 years in Kentucky, and we got schools shut. I mean, we are fundamentally shifting our public education system.
Absolutely.
Over 11 people.
Fucking shit.
Over 11.
Even in these county schools.
Those individual kids. Like, again, this ain't me being like harsh on them, because obviously, like, we got a bunch of kids. I love children. Like, I know that that's where you get messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that brought me down here. Then I started getting in here and like realized real quick that that like it was gonna be tough sledding. First of all, just to get in these rooms with people, because I ain't black, but I look different and sound different. And these dudes are like, "Who is this cat trying to come up in here and talking to people?" You know what I mean? And so,
well, you Eastern. Once you say you from Eastern Kentucky, dog, trust me, everything you say is damn near counted.
And so it took me
until you prove yourself. Trust me on that.
Like, I think the good thing was none of them took me serious enough at the beginning. It's like I was getting to talk with everybody, but then all of a sudden it was like, oh shoot, dude knows like all of us now, and I was like,
he's quick on game.
Us country boys. That's
that Middlesbrough.
We can get some stuff out of you. So now I know all about
this motherfucker ain't an average cat.
60 or whatever, and then they ain't used to someone, like I said, when I see you and I think you as a traitor, like they're looking at me a certain type of way, and like I know they don't think I got anything mentally and so I start coming here with I'm writing amendments and saying like, go file this stuff, and like figuring out the relationship side. But then I started getting into the education part and going into so it was like, obviously it was the math stuff for me was the big one, and then got into like this obscene material stuff we're kind of looking at. And then as I got developing with everyone and got to know people, I started getting into this CRT conversation, right? So I think this is, again, like I want to get into heavy stuff when we can. So for me, when it comes to, first of all, vocabulary matters, and like the stuff, the reason I was able to get a coronavirus bill through is because when I rewrote it, I took out these polarizing words like mask and vaccine. It's like, it's like medical procedure, medical device use. You can't force, medical treatments on people. Because as soon as you hear vaccine, here comes everybody screaming. You got both ends. You see mask, you got both ends.
This shit's getting wild for sure.
So then I got into the crook race thing, and I started realizing, here's the real problem with this. Like, we're picking fights for an issue that, like, I can see both sides of, like, where everybody's coming from. But what we're talking about is if we identify a problem, we can either be people that want to keep talking about the problem and the past issues, or we can admit there is a problem, and that most of us probably don't fully understand how we got here. But how do we go forward?
Well, I don't personally know what's in the curriculum that is involved in critical race theory, but I can tell you this: you can't identify a problem until you identify the truth of the problem. And the truth of the problem is that black people, America has not solved its quails yet, because black people were disenfranchised mentally, physically, emotionally, monetarily, amongst all. And like I said, I'm not sure about the curriculum and how it's taught, what it's taught. I've heard both sides. I listened to the cat Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, that's his name, Jordan Peterson. And he's against it in Canada and stuff. And I can see why. But I can also see that type of the change, the dynamic change in the curriculum would in fact not necessarily be, would take the bigotry from one end to the other, because black people can be very, very bigot. We can be bigoted. You know what I'm saying? Not racist, because we don't control a motherfucking thing except our own money, which we give to every other community. But we can be very, very, you know, bigots. We can be a bigotry. You know what I'm saying? Probably better than any other race because we're always getting pounded upon. You know, but it. If that happens, then we can snuff that out better, I believe, than the white community would, because the white community, what they've done for years and years and years, and up until this point, is, you know, turn their fucking blind eye. Even if you was a good old boy and you wasn't racist, you hung around racist friends and you tolerated that shit. You see what I'm saying? Because he don't mean no harm, and yeah, you see what I'm saying? I ain't a nigger lover yet. You get what I'm saying? Like, not yet though. You see what I'm saying? That's basically how you gotta look at it. But in my own personal view, as far as critical race theory is concerned, and you can call it, damn, crack my man shit.
You alright? You alright?
In my own personal view, as far as critical race theory, I believe that it would be, if you would put it in black people's hands to snuff out black racism, or if in fact, like for instance, if it be against like policy for a motherfucker to do us the way that, for us to do y'all the way we did, the way y'all do us. Like, if my wife, like, you in a room full of black guys right now, if a motherfucker get on your ass, dog, on some racial shit, dog, you already know how I'm coming behind you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Like what?
You know how I'm coming behind you. But sometimes what ends up happening is you don't have people as passionate as you are about those types of things, and they'll turn a blind eye. So if the roles were reversed, there would be a whole lot more black people that be like, nah, that's my motherfucking nigga. I don't give a fuck. Y'all niggas you better leave him alone. You feel what I'm saying? Then it will be for in that opposite thing. So I think that all the reasons that they're saying that they don't want the truth to be fucking taught is that it'll give a motherfucker like a vengeful type of spirit, and then they will receive racism.
So
you see what I'm saying?
So when we talked about like solutions, so I started getting into this conversation, and I went from like nobody giving me any credit to then all of a sudden I got members of the legislature that are like think I don't care about their bills because I ain't talking about them, and I'm like, dude, you know, at that time 4 weeks ago I hadn't even been here before, you know what I mean? Like, so it went from no cred to like too much. But like, so I started seeing this dichotomy of like, I think I see everybody admitting we gotta revisit our educational system and, you know, reevaluate. But then I see people, as far as the people solving the problem, either are looking at it as a problem. It's a problem of the extreme. So you have one side saying, well, you got all these people trying to show kids porno or trying to make white kids feel bad about themselves, or you got the people on the other side that are like saying, but yeah, like but this race is historically oppressed or whatever, and like, and what really was happening was a bunch of people that I didn't feel like anybody could talk the talk, and it's like, look at it from a human perspective, and that it's children down here. So let's figure out how to move.
Glad you said
if
that.
we got a problem, we're grown-ups now. Our problems are here. We'll talk them out, but we don't want our kids to have the same problems.
Glad you said that.
So like, I started looking at these two bills, and we had one bill in the Senate, or Kentucky Senate, we had one on our House side, right? One of them was a bill that was basically saying critical race theory is a problem. You got it, and started talking about like a bunch of things you had to teach. Everything you had to teach
tell me more about the curriculum.
Everything was like, it was like, you know, founding father type stuff. Like, why, you know, you had to. It basically was, they were saying, here's the left is the problem. We're attacking the left and trying to stomp them out. But then there really was no meat to like, okay, well, this is the problem. Here's what you have to teach. Here's the process of going through something. If you are teaching things you shouldn't, here's the way to hold people accountable, yada yada. Then on the House side, you had one that everybody thought was hateful. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go read this and see what it's about.
Yeah.
It was like the first page was like.
Is it available for the public to read? Is it public information?
So I'm gonna give it to y'all.
Dive into
so it was like.
You read it?
So it was like bigotry is this, American revisionist history is this, and then the other, what was the other one? Race or sex essentialism equals this, and then it was like, so these definitions made people from the jump start thinking like, oh, they hate, they just don't like. I'm like, but then you keep, again, nobody wants to read the whole thing because it's boring. You start reading it and you realize it's you have to have these things. We have to have some common ground rules to play the sport. And so if we're going to change stuff,
change it from the bottom.
We are defining these things because here's the deal. So instead of saying you can't teach such and such, it's saying you can teach anything you want. As long as it doesn't do these two things. As long as it doesn't promote bigotry, race or sex essentialism, or revisionist history. As long as it doesn't do that, and as long as it doesn't disparage the fundamental American value of equality under the law, you can teach it. All right, and so I'm like, okay, I can get on board with that because like, I don't want like liberal white women teaching young white males that they're bad because their granddads had slaves or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also don't want like to not make it a focus that we teach about the Trail of Tears and slavery and how those things.
Well,
they didn't. This isn't despair against them. We weren't living up to our standard. Yeah, this is why we got to know these
facts.
things. And so like in one of the curriculums, in one of the curriculums, it was mostly like. Said Federalist Papers, American Constitution, all this stuff, and I was like, this bill looks whitewashed because there's like, I'm like, go. I know you said that you're not saying you can't teach. I'm like, but you need to say in addition to these things, you have to teach certain things that's more than just like the I Have a Dream speech.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like we need to talk. You need to say like.
Facts.
We actually have done our research, and this is what we would like. We think all kids need to know about, like the black struggle and what we've done to races of people all over the last 150 years,
and deal with the consequences.
Well,
and deal with the chips as they fall. That's the only way you gonna get to it.
Well, to me,
that's how you get closer to the motherfucking solution. Is you embrace the problem.
Well, the only consequences are that you don't talk about it at all, and then you grow up and you have another generation of people that don't understand one another. So to me, like the solution was you talk about these things at a young age, and you let people figure it out amongst themselves. Because if we're not going to do that, what's the point of integration?
Facts.
You know what I mean? If we're not going to learn about each other and have I hate the word safe.
There can't be a point
like
to
the
it.
Safe, like a safe space or whatever. I hate that word, but
if a motherfucker goes and studies abroad, he involves himself fully into that culture.
Yeah. I mean that's the whole point.
Integration is just that.
It's the same thing. Same as we've been talking. Our problem is vocabulary. We are focused. So I was like, listen. First of all, we gotta start talking about this critical race theory bill because, like, just saying those words.
I'm gonna dissect that motherfucker. Because I want to understand exactly what the curriculum, what they see wrong with telling the motherfuckers. So
here's the deal.
You see what I'm saying?
Go ahead, my man.
Please.
Get in there.
So, I seen it. It's pretty good. There's, as he said earlier, and like we've all been saying, language is key to all these things.
Facts.
Because how you say it means a lot more than what you're trying to say. In the law.
True.
As a principle.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking about law, which is what you're talking about, where you're talking about getting amendments passed,
bills and things of that nature.
You're talking about the law. How you say it means more than your intention.
Like the smallest of words.
The one word can change the whole intention. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that I remember I told you is amongst ourselves as a population, we have to quit referring to what we're talking about, what we're trying to do as critical race theory. because that's not what it is. Because critical race theory is a technique.
It's actually it's actually a discipline.
Yeah, it like used in law to like get you out of like trouble and shit. You know what I'm saying?
You
like,
talking about like some Johnny Cochran type shit?
Yeah. You know
is he the inventor of it?
No, it's some other people. I don't want to get the quoting and all that shit because I'm definitely butcher.
Yeah, you butcher.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying, what we're talking about, and what that bill is talking about, is about how people have tried to spin it and you weaponize it to try to either whitewash history or to do the exact opposite and play a it's my turn to slap you game. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, and that's where I disagree because
that's the truth.
This is the main reason why I disagree with that. Because
it doesn't have to be prolonged.
That's like saying and to use your, you know what I'm saying? That's like saying you didn't slap me initially.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, my point is you're scared that I'm gonna slap you.
No.
But that you're denying the fact that you slapped me. You understand where I'm coming from?
I'm not.
I hear what you're saying.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm trying to get to where I'm going here. But I'm saying, just like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the other thing with education. Damn, I fucking totally forgot. But that's okay. But it doesn't have to be as extreme as people are trying to put on for it. That's what he's saying and what I'm saying. Is the truth can be told without you coming in and saying to his kid, oh, your dad's a racist, wacko fucking crazy Ku Klux Klan member. You know what I'm saying?
Not your dad specifically though.
But what I'm telling you is
we can say that your forefathers were though because they were though, right?
I'm saying if you have a historical record that your granddad was, then yes,
that's
of course.
Not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
But I'm not talking about you personally. You can say whatever you like.
That's what I'm saying.
We're talking about curriculum in school. So if you're teaching it in school, should it not be historically correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've established that, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you want to teach what has historically happened, Trail of Tears, Oklahoma City,
facts.
Anything that you can historically prove, I'm okay with it.
Facts.
As long as it does not disparage inequality.
The goal of equality in the American
as long as it doesn't teach the kid that you're teaching that he should be unequal to the other person. What's wrong with that?
How does that apply when you were just telling what happened as it actually happened?
You didn't listen to. That's 100% correct. But what I'm telling you is the people that are arguing on this far side aren't talking about that. They're talking about going in there and blaming your dad. So your 10-year-old.
That's an extreme.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
and the other, I just said that the other extreme is people are whitewashing, trying to act like it doesn't happen at all.
Which is what happens.
What's
been happening.
But that's why we're talking about getting a bill placed in so that teachers know exactly what they're talking about teaching and what the parameters are of what you can teach.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I said take out the critical race theory part of it, because that's not what it is.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
So, and as far as what you're talking about
but
with the law,
you have to put it
that sounds
because you have to put it that way. Otherwise, you're going to get what I just got from you, a reaction to I'm not trying to fight that fight. You know what I'm saying?
Basically.
Because that's not my fight. I'm on your side with telling the truth.
Yeah,
we're fighting the same. We're fighting the same fight. Mm-hmm. But if I say or he says,
and that is what I don't want to happen.
Exactly,
I don't want that to happen. But I would be quote unquote security. The type of nigga I am and the type of nigga that is like me and the type of nigga like you, we would be security about that not happening, which is what you lack in the white community. You get what I'm saying? You don't have no security. You can be security, but only so much.
But see,
what I'm saying?
That's what
Black
the bill is
motherfuckers
for.
be willing to go to any extreme. We gon' whoop all these niggas for you. You see what I'm saying?
I do. No.
That's how that's how. So if it even occurred on the extremist levels, on the other side of it, I feel like it would be a better outcome. Period. Because of the damage that has been inflicted. Our psyche, bro. Our psyche in and of itself.
So
that's a different conversation.
So for me,
you see what I'm saying? Our psyche
as
you see what I'm saying?
I think that's a good spot.
Motherfuckers rob and loot and would do anything to a black man, but scared to death to do it to a white person. So I'm saying because of the damage that's been inflicted.
And so here's the deal.
That is true.
So with that being coinciding with the fact that we would be a lot less or a lot more likely to jump to a white person's aid if the extreme happened than it happening. We already know what the fuck happens when the ball's in y'all's court.
So what we're saying, what's happening in class?
I do know what you're saying, but we're talking about two totally different things.
I
do understand what you're saying.
I get that. I don't believe
and I agree with what you're saying.
I don't believe we're talking about two different things as much as we're talking about two different perspectives.
Well, I was literally talking about.
No, I get what you're saying.
The bill and
I get what you're saying.
No, but what you just brought it to is another topic. But a topic I'm more than willing to talk about because I definitely, as a black man and one who is very enveloped into the white culture, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
More than most, you know what I'm saying?
More than
I
me.
went to an all-white high school, you know what I'm saying? All white, only motherfucking black guy on the football team, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Plenty of white friends that love me to death, that would have the same action that you're talking about.
I'm talking about
for me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But the difference
no,
is
hold on.
Okay,
I'm
gonna let you finish.
I still agree with what you're saying because I know.
Take into consideration that they're from Eastern Kentucky.
No, listen to me. I know for a fact of all my travels and all the places I've been, I know when a motherfucker is gonna go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you right now,
my boy John gonna go.
Man, it's people out here all over the planet that are gonna go, but there are more people who are gonna go that live in Southside motherfucking Chicago. You wanna know why? Because they been going. You know what I'm saying? You live in motherfucking Southeastern Kentucky, you been going. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, where my cat at?
You live in motherfucking.
You ain't let my cat out, bro.
The cat was back there.
Okay.
I have not seen the cat. But
So let me interject for a second. I think I can bring us home a little bit. Like, so the conversation you're having right now that's the conversation I want my sons getting to experience.
He's actually said that
in an intimate setting with someone like with you saying that shit to him. You know what I mean? I think what we got right now is we don't have a. It's almost like on a police standpoint, we can't.
If you would have more black male teachers.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. What's happening right now is you have people that are arguing about this with children as pawns, but on both spectrum, it's like it is for the most part Caucasian people, and so you have one group that isn't coming at it from a stance of like they feel this in their heart because it happened to them, and now they're like, but they also have a passion for kids and want kids to like to have not a hate in their heart. You have rich, not I mean they're all other teachers not rich, but you have liberal white women that have hate.
If they're in Kentucky and their teachers, they're not rich.
Yeah, I do what I'm saying. Like that's how I didn't. That's why I walked back. That's why I walked back.
That ain't even wealthy.
The rich word.
Depends on her husband.
You know, or you have it.
Or
you have it on the flip side of that, where you have someone that's like so afraid to let the discussion of race at all into the classroom that it doesn't get talked about at all. And so my thing is this. I get caught up in this. John will tell you as far as like my daddy issues run deep, and I think about them so hard. Like my dad died since April, so 7 months in the future is if I was my dad, I'd be dead in 7 months. So like that stuff is on like it weighs on my heart, my shoulders every day.
I'm
and
deep
so
in therapy, man, and one of the things that therapy has taught me is in your mind. You have downplayed that situation in its entirety. It is so traumatic and so revolutionary to your core. Like,
well, see, like
it's weird when if you was to break it down.
So
I'm not, you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go into that or nothing like that. But it was weird though how my therapist or whatever, she's younger or whatever, but she's and you can't put a dampen on passion for a certain craft, because I'm telling you, man, there's some brilliant young people out here.
For sure.
And that's just 100%. A big up to my therapist. But you have minimized that. You see what I'm saying? Almost to like it's weird how it happens, and I'm gonna let you finish because I'm eager to hear what you're saying. But the only point that I'm making is that is like central to who you are.
No,
as a literal person.
So I know that, and I think it's like there's certain people I think that do. I think I'm actually someone who hasn't downplayed it because I let it weigh on me so much. I can tell you're introspective as well. Most people aren't, and they bury it, and then it manifests itself in terrible ways. Beating their men.
Not necessarily terrible, but it could be the other way.
Yeah, I mean, it could.
A motherfucker that grows up without a daddy, sometimes he wants to be the daddy that he never had.
So that's what I mean, and that's I would say.
Most times
it's probably a good thing.
You know what I'm saying? Most times a motherfucker be like, man, I'm gonna be the same daddy I had by subconscious.
So I wrote a memoir when I was in high school about how like my dad couldn't have been a better father alive than he was by dying, because it made me like.
Wow.
Look back on his life.
I
wrote this like Miss Leach. Remember Miss Leach?
That's powerful.
That was like one of my.
Yeah, I remember Miss Leach,
my final. The memoir I wrote was about that. But coming back to the education thing, it's like we're having this conversation where like, the conversation is being had. Who's going to control it? Is it going to be these people on these ends of the spectrum, or people that's actually lived it? You know what I mean? But then people like us think that we can't have the conversation because we're not educated enough or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. So now we're coming in here. And it's like I'm coming from not knowing anything, to now I'm like literally writing an amendment to end coronavirus for millions of children. Now I'm like writing amendments for this critical race theory bill that has been influenced by the Christopher Rufo's of the world, and so people I think have good intentions, but I don't know if they've walked the walk, so they can't. Right. So like for me, it was like, okay, I'm reading this bill.
You have though.
I'm like, we need to know.
You definitely
we need to have definitions. We need to have parameters of like, we can't silence speech, but we also, for children, for us with this race stuff, like we think about all the time, and by the time we're older, we're trying to survive with. Where we at, already established. But for kids, we need to teach them the truth with a positive view of what is possible going forward.
Exactly.
Listen to what I'm saying, Cox. You grew up with kids that knew the truth.
I know, and look at us, we're different.
You understand what I'm saying?
And we think different.
This is what I'm saying. You grew up with kids that knew the truth, that didn't treat you no different. Have we ever had conversations like this when we was kids? But did we know?
I have. I've had conversations with them like this.
I honestly have never had a conversation with you like this.
We had.
I ain't never really had conversations with none of my white counterparts like this. You see
what
I'm saying? But the point is though, that even though I knew the truth,
right,
I was willing to set that shit aside.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to kill all that noise right now about the critical race theory, because that is the type of shit that's really not important. who did what and what happened is not important. I'm gonna tell you what's important.
That's what
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
You know, look,
I respect.
I'm 100% on. So, but here's why.
That's what the fuck is important.
Here's where I came.
So I can get around a critical race theory law, and if it's not called that, it's not called that. If it is called that, it is called that. I don't give a fuck what it's called. I can get around telling some children, white children, black children, Asian children, Japanese children who we bombed, nigga, not 100 years ago.
Right.
So I'm saying the goddamn truth about what the fuck
Chinese
it is.
encampment.
I can get around that.
Yeah. Well, so for me, my deal was
No matter the outcome.
If we're gonna have a bill,
I don't give a fuck about the outcome. You see what I'm saying? And that's coming from the motherfucker who is disfranchised by the opposite of the outcome. But that's also coming from the standpoint of how are we gonna get to any kind of real shit solution if we ain't addressing a real goddamn problem?
No, listen. I'm 100% on board with you there, and that's why, like, when I got into this one,
Go, my nigga. Fuck with you, Joe. Look.
Hey man, that's me, man. Yeah,
it's my dog, man.
So like for me, it was like I got into it.
Chi-Town's finest in the building.
And my opinions on all these bills I've gotten involved in has been, if they're gonna happen,
you going too, Joe? All right, man. I'm fuck with y'all boys. Look.
Much love. All right, Pink.
All right, bro.
Stay straight, all right? All right. Hey, good
I
to
didn't
hear
get
from
to
you.
meet you. I'm John Cox. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's my
man.
dog,
Yeah,
man.
nice
It's
to
my
meet
dog,
you.
It's
Will,
good to hear
man.
y'all talk, man. I like to get on that one time. Look,
Yeah, this is the
I
first.
got
Hey,
some
y'all
good
should,
person.
hey, real talk, y'all should bring both of them dudes on here, bro.
I think that's what I'm wanting.
Put all
That's what
of
we're
them
talking
on
about
there.
wanting to do. I mean,
Told you.
like getting real people talking about real
Trying to
stuff.
let you
and
tell
then-
Real people
I
talking
wanna
about real
interject,
shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Average
this part,
motherfuckers too. You know what I'm saying? Cause can't nobody say I'm just an average motherfucker for real, bro. You know what I'm saying? No matter
Yeah,
what I
we
got
are
going
average.
on, bro. You know
But
what I'm saying?
average, you are also extraordinary as well.
But so like, so what? But what's happening in there? Listen,
Because what I wanted to talk about is that I want to do a clean concert. I have a thing, private organization, and then I have also a nonprofit for children.
okay.
And I do clean concerts every year and give away money and phones and gift cards and help. the
Hey, that's
community.
that nigga right here, bro.
I do
Real
King-
shit, bro.
I do Kingdom Crump.
That's
And,
my
it's all
dog right
clean.
there.
I did Franklin's Got Talent 2 years ago, and we had a lot of kids come in all over and do. It was contests. It was just like on TV. It was great.
Well,
Hey,
we've been
get. How much time you got?
talking- I'm here, man. I'm here for a while.
What time is it, man?
Yes, too. I got to go though.
Go handle your business.
I'll be back. I mean, I'll be
Go
down
handle
here.
your business, man.
Several-
Throw
We can do
some
it next
work.
time or something.
Yeah, no, for
Hey.
sure. Yeah.
Next time's ass, bro. All we got is now. You
Huh.
wanna do this shit?
I gotta be somewhere too, bro. You know how I do. I ain't got my boots on. I gotta put my shoes on and everything.
55.
Come.
Alright, I'ma fuck with you in a minute.
All right. Good meeting you, bro.
Yeah, you as well, man.
Us, Neil, man.
Who that is?
Neil, man.
Ah, okay.
But my deal, so listen, my deal with all this, and so like I think most of these conversations they'll get to hear, and then someone like you will be talking to someone who ain't thinking, who isn't being like sincere in the fact that there are these systemic or institutional, whatever you call them, problems we got to address.
Absolutely.
And so, but for me, it's like, okay, if we're it's just like the gun issue. Okay, guns are here to stay. We ain't getting rid of them. Looks like this. If we're going to have a bill that's going to address this issue, it needs to like.
Make it a
I
good
want to
one.
make sure that it's a good one and that it does good things and it's focused on
The right
like,
shit.
kids and not being hateful and trying to stomp out someone else's point of view. Because right now, that's what's happening is you got two extreme points of view. They're trying to win and want their opinion forced in the throat of everyone else. I'm like, no. Actually, what I want in life is for like everybody to be given all the information and then empowered to do what they will with it. You know what I mean? And like
That's how I'm fucking rocking.
become a better person.
That's how I'm rocking.
That's all I was trying to say.
Because
I'm glad
why?
you said it.
Because this is the information age.
And so,
And misinformation makes a motherfucker do other shit.
well, but see,
But information, real solid information,
It's unmatched.
is unmatched.
so
bro.
I'm thinking, I'm like, we gotta know the rules of the game. We gotta know definitions. if we're going to tell people you have to see certain things, we can't just put in the things that we know that we want. We got to put in some things that we are unsure of that tell the whole story, right? So like, we got to bring in some, about like, more than just the "I have a dream" speech. There's more to like, the like what's the one for the black integration into like American society.
Let me ask you a question.
Martin Luther King.
Do you know who Nat Turner is?
I do. I don't like the names come up in documentaries stuff like that. But again, I've been interested in this stuff. Forever. I said I'm watching.
What about Frederick Douglass?
Of course. Well, so the one that
Of course he does.
The one that
like Fred. Okay. Do you know who James Baldwin is?
I'm pretty sure I do, but I would have to. Again, it's one of those things that would come up.
James Baldwin is a good one. Frederick Douglass, sure. James Baldwin, though.
I know who it is.
I know you know.
Well, and that's actually one of the points of the thing is I said they would be trying to put good stuff into a bill, but really all would get in there would be like the stuff that.
If the Invisible Man instead of the Great Gatsby was in the curriculum of critical race theory, I wouldn't have a fucking problem with it.
And so here, let's go back to this.
But see,
let's get back to
that's the problem right there.
So let's move past.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying like why does it have to be either or book? Why can't you just have all the books?
Because the Great Gatsby was more about.
Why can't you just have all the books and the kids read what interests them? I mean, of course you have some curriculum.
No, I can get around that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're talking about these are fictional books and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you what I can get around, bro. I can tell you what I can get around. And this is going back to my original point. Science, technology, engineering, and math being the only motherfucking thing required.
So listen,
and everything else
is
what the fuck you want to do.
I actually would agree.
I don't have a problem with that. Actually.
Would agree with you. What's happening right now is
would that make less losers?
Probably.
You're goddamn right it would.
But right now, what's happening?
Because there's a lot of people with ADHD and they're saying, fuck all of that other shit. I'd rather do this.
I mean, you're talking about something that is. Like Uber, like it would be an Uber achievement if we even could get it to be done.
You're talking about best case scenario.
What we're talking about.
You think?
Oh, for sure. What we're talking about is some shit that's about to happen, like
tomorrow. No. I don't think that I'm talking about best case scenario.
No, I'm talking. But what I'm saying is, like what I was saying earlier. This is imminent. This is happening. If this is going to happen. If this is going to happen,
what I'm talking about is fantastic. Yeah, is what you're saying.
Is it not our duty to sit here and talk about what's going to be there? If you're going to have,
I can dig that.
No. Okay, now
I believe that the end result, if we had science, technology, engineering, and math, and the rest of and whatever you want to study outside of that, you can study. But with those 4 subjects. Language ain't got nothing to do with it because there's science, technology, engineering, and math in every fucking language.
Is going to be learning what is on this curriculum.
No, I understand what you're saying.
So I'm saying you could keep talking about STEM all you'd like, but STEM is not what's reality. Reality is they're about to pass one of these bills, and we could have a say in what they're going to teach our kids.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Well, and if we're going to...
And if we're going to teach them... I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I've been waiting for a while to try to get some shit.
Go ahead.
But if we're gonna have the curriculum already, we've got that. We know this is evident. It's already gonna be there. So make sure it's good. And let's make sure that this curriculum is based on some fucking values that we fucking agree on.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Those 4 fucking values that he fucking named... Could I hear him again? Because I can't fucking...
It was like can't disparage the fundamental American quality of freedom and equality under the law, and then you can't promote bigotry, race or sex essentialism, or American revisionist history.
Do you disagree with any of those? Those are all pretty fucking... That's a
lot, though. That's a lot to take in. Especially that second one.
What?
Let's break that down.
Race or sex essentialism, that one, or which one?
The second one you said.
Race or sex essentialism?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's basically just, you shouldn't be teaching someone that because of their color or because of their sex or
they're inherently
choice,
better or inherently worse.
They're better or worse than you are just because of who they are.
That sounds like something I can get around.
You feel me? Okay, so that's all we're saying. Those 4 values right there are what's trying to get written in there. Okay. Now from that point, they put in some things that are like they're going to make what you would say necessity to be taught. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking your Bill of Rights, Constitution, Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech. You know what I'm saying?
It's got
there's
Frederick stuff in there.
What we're saying is, if we're going to have these curriculums that they have to learn, then they should be good ones. If they're going to be the concrete shit, if this is what's going to be the base, then let's make sure they're the good ones. You know what I'm saying? And the shit that people need to know. And let's make sure that those values for the times when a teacher decides to go off of script and teach their own shit, that under the law, they're held accountable to these values.
I can dig it.
And
you know what I'm saying?
So one point is like when you're looking at fundamental.
What you're talking about, I 100% agree with, because what you're talking about is about psyche and about emotional distress and DNA memory and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Where you're literally, people can believe it or not believe it, but the shit that happened to your fucking ancestors 100 years ago affects you today.
It absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Does.
So that's a whole other conversation. I ain't no expert on it
or
none of that shit. But I'm saying, but what I am saying is that with this education bill and shit, what my take on the whole thing is, if you want to pursue it, and if it's already imminent, which means I need to take part in it because it's going to be taught to my kids, I'd like to have a say so what happens there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to make it as good as I can, and I want people to understand that they can do that as well. You know what I'm saying? You can, like, everybody can have a little spill in it and shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Not just that. There is a way to do it. There's a way to tell the truth and not batter people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. There's 100% a way to tell all the truth and not be like, it was you, hunky.
Listen,
you know
what I'm
saying?
telling you. Listen what I'm telling you. Listen, hold on. Listen what I'm saying.
I'm not even sure if that's. I'm sure.
Listen what I'm saying to you.
That's the truth.
Listen what I'm saying to you. The motherfucker that don't want you to tell the truth is the only motherfucker that's scared of that shit.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying for sure.
Bottom line, here's what we're saying.
Right?
What your response that you're having right now, we have to be on, like, you're coming to the table with that under the premise that someone else is the one writing the legislation and you're worried about what they're trying to do with it. Our argument is, let's become the people writing it so that we're already on it. We already care about one another.
And if you are writing a bill,
he is, and we're here talking to you about it. That's what I'm saying.
So,
don't talk to me in third person.
And this is what I'm saying.
Let's talk about it. Let's get it right.
It's okay to tell the truth.
You have to.
Every once in a while.
No, it's important we tell the truth every single day. Every day.
What I'm saying is that should not be the focus. The focus for all of these kids that ain't got shit going on.
But that's you're going to something that is
you're
inevitable.
saying it's fantastic, What I'm saying that
is
when we talk about our black leaders, we should be talking about black inventors.
I agree, 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that.
That's in the curriculum. That's relevant.
I'm saying, add that. I'm talking about.
I get that we was in slavery. I get Frederick Douglass. I get that.
Well, say that. That's what I'm saying. Say that.
Let's talk about motherfuckers who was
great.
George Washington Carver should be way before Martin Luther King.
We've actually talked about. That's one thing.
Now we talk.
You put him on a pedestal, George Washington Carver,
because he can do shit.
But that's what I'm saying.
And you know what's fucking wild is that I think the nigga was queer. Ain't that fucking funny?
Who cares about that?
No one does. But the point of it is that.
Oh no! I know what your point is.
I don't give a fuck about the agenda.
Oh, for sure.
You see what I'm saying? The most thing of it is to get these black boys to think about something outside of themselves.
100%.
Exactly. So let me come in on this.
100%.
So here's now I'm right there with you with the STEM stuff. We homeschool our kid now, and like that's pretty. Our kids.
I'm not disagreeing.
And
like, no, I know.
Pretty much, it's like reading, writing, arithmetic. Like it's about all that matters, and you know how
I get though.
But here's what's happening, and here's what when I started getting involved in this, I'm like, oh crap, we got one bill that's trying to do good, but still missing some things, and we got one bill over here that's like literally just trying to get past. So because it's an anti something, it's a get something, and so all it's doing is trying to prevent this from happening, but it's not really benefiting anything, and there's no accountability piece. So if we do something like that, I live in Louisville now. If you put legislation out there that this gets people like up in arms over things, and then you don't give them a way to hold people accountable and have something inside the system to come to a conclusion, what happens? Community strife happens, and you start and Breonna Taylor shit happens, and you have white people going into police in black neighborhoods, and my fear was that
I don't know how it's gonna come about, but if you can make a fucking bill, anything, and all I want is the end result for motherfucker. If I want to beat my kid's ass, I'm gonna beat his ass because he doing bad in engineering class rather than history. That's a whitewashed history in the first place.
So you're talking about STEM, right? We're talking about this.
Yeah, you understand where I'm coming from.
That's what I'm talking about. Check this out though. So
I would rather beat his ass because he's doing bad in engineering, and I would rather hone him in engineering, mathematics. Black people ain't no fucking mathematicians by far. But the thing is that it's because, for starters, it's not fucking commonplace to be even in your fucking kid's life as a black male. And then
I'll tell you, you want to know the real truth about it, you want to talk about STEM mathematics, we can go.
I'm just a firm believer in STEM, bro.
This is the problem with mathematics. You want to know the problem with mathematics? I'll tell you the problem with mathematics. Anxiety and stress.
That's true.
That's the problem with math. Because when people hear the word mathematics, most people automatically get a trigger for anxiety and stress. Because math and the word
and that's the
hard,
beginning of
the word math and hard are coincided in our culture.
That's true. But is it not math, man, when you on that motherfucking grill, bro, and you got to goddamn time your burgers? You do this shit, bro. You live and breathe this shit, bro.
I'm not no one's disagreeing with you about
I'm not saying that
mathematics,
you don't,
mathematics being great.
So then the black. I believe that we got to fucking face our fears, man.
I'm saying learn how to teach math. That's what I'm saying. Learn how to teach math. That's what I'm saying. Because the way math is taught is the problem. It's not that math is too hard. It's that everyone associates math with the word hard. When you were a child, someone told you math is hard. Probably your parents.
That's not a fucking fiction. That's not fiction, though. I'm sorry.
Listen to me, though. Listen to me, though. Same thing. Always reverse in circle. Language is always the most important. It's your communication. It's how you get your shit off and talk to people. This is what we're doing with this show. Language, communication. If you're trying to teach someone something, I promise you they're not going to do well with it if you keep telling them it's hard.
True.
You know what I'm saying? I learned this from a math teacher. You know what I'm saying? A mathematics professor. True. You know what I'm saying? He's like, bro, first class. He's the first. I was 32 years old, and it's the very first time a math teacher ever said this to me, and probably the first time since I was in like 3rd grade I got an A in a math class, and it was the first thing. This class will not be hard. And he said, I said that for a reason, because I want everyone to let their guard down and not come in here bullhorns up because it's math class and you think it's going to be hard. And that's every time you take a math class, what have they told you? It's going to be hard. You're going to have to focus. You have to get down and bite the grindstone.
I can get around that.
You know what I'm saying?
I can also get around. I can also get around black boys embracing challenge.
You should get around every person on the planet embracing challenge.
Well, no, I'm just.
I know what
you're talking about.
No, you're talking. I'm talking. I'm just.
Oh, absolutely. Every
person should embrace challenge.
Everyone doesn't though.
So
no,
look,
most people don't.
So this is the deal. Like, I'm behind on the STEM stuff. Realize this conversation, all we're talking about now, we've been talking about nothing but this history stuff or whatever. All right. Well, and everything we're talking about, it only affects the public school. Guess who isn't spending all their time talking about this nonsense?
Right.
Private schools. They're
sure.
doing STEM, right?
For sure.
So we got if we're going to do this,
if we're
going to do this. Let's do it in a way to where there's not a whole bunch of gray area. We got you got everything we're saying you have to teach takes up a whole bunch of your time, and then for the stuff that bleeds over into other discipline areas, whether it be math or science or whatever. You can, if you want to make a science problem that has to do with racism, as long as it doesn't disparage the fundamental American value of equality under the law, and it says it explains that in the past we fell very short on this concept, but the fact that we want to get there, and that you're the generation to do it, because we're going to teach y'all to love each other. And to learn from the past, you can talk about it. When the Breonna Taylor stuff comes up, we should be talking about that.
If you got a math problem that says, motherfucker had 100 slaves, he's trying to divide by yada yada yada. I guarantee it ain't no nigga that's gonna say why I gotta be slaves. It's gonna be a little white person, because that's what I'm saying, bro. Reality is reality. It shits on the person that, but the thing about it is it will never fucking be solved in anything unless we get to the absolute goddamn truth of the matter. Don't matter how it make a motherfucker feel. Like that little white bitch that remember, y'all know the white girl, the old white lady? She got that experiment, and that's what they like to use.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I think that's where the critical race thing come from. Her name is I could Google her real quick. Little white lady, man. She teach about racism. She's notorious for making white kids cry about it. Because it make them feel uncomfortable. The point of it is until white kids feel uncomfortable about racism, you can't change the goddamn culture. It's impossible.
And to me, that's why you got to put certain things in that you have to teach. Because here's the deal: if you teach about slavery, and who did it, it's impossible.
I don't know if I agree with what you just said.
I don't understand.
I'm saying you think
I don't understand.
You think that you have to go up. You think that you need to go up and like scream at a bunch of little fucking white kids and make them cry and shit to make them feel like
is that
some type of way?
That ain't.
I'm saying that that's just. I'm just
that's
asking.
A horrible analogy.
No, that's what you just said.
No,
you said that's what she was doing, right?
No, she's teaching a class.
No, but you
and
said she was like screaming at him,
teaching
right?
the class. No.
No.
We can watch the clip. I literally turned on the clip, my brother.
No, I'm just saying. I just want to make sure that we're correct in what you said because
What
when
I'm
you were
saying
just talking about it, you
is,
said she screams at him. And
this
makes
is
him
the
cry.
conclusion
That's
of what
I'm
I
saying.
said. Until you make white children be uncomfortable about racism, nothing will change.
You know what?
Oh, I agree with this statement.
That's what I said.
Okay.
And she gets a bad rap because the curriculum that she teaches makes white kids uncomfortable. Until you make white children uncomfortable, you can't, about racism, about bigotry, you can't even begin to change. And the way that you make them uncomfortable about it is you tell them the absolute positive fucking truth.
No, listen, I'm 100% on board.
I'm all for the truth. But the truth. I'm sorry. I was stuck on when you said she screamed at her, made him cry. That made me instantly think of abuse.
I'm about
you know what I'm saying?
to put it on.
I'm just saying that.
I put it on, cuz.
No, you can put it on. That's fine.
Put it on.
I'm just saying, I agree with the entire premise of that you have to make people uncomfortable if you want them to change, 100%. But if you're talking about children who were not racist,
we're talking about what we're not talking about children that are racist. We're talking about forefathers that were racist.
That's what I'm saying. But listen to me. Can
You
I get
understand
my thought off?
In an effort.
Can I get my thought off?
Of course.
Okay. So if we're talking about children, you know what I'm saying? Are we all in agreement that you're not born racist?
Oh, absolutely.
We're all in agreement on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have to be taught to be racist.
You can be cultured by this society.
I'm saying, but yes.
To be racist.
Okay. Yes, I agree.
You can
So
be cultured.
Oh, exactly.
Cultivated.
Okay, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with
on
you.
accident.
Listen to me. Can I please get a thought off?
Yeah. You asked me a question, I answered it. I'm looking for my remote though.
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere.
But when you're talking about children and you're talking about people who are not racist already,
absolutely,
you don't have to use the same manners that you do to break someone who is already there.
That's true.
So if we're talking about children and we're talking about teaching them curriculum and how their values and their culture is going to be, then why does it have to be whitewash or bashing? Why can't it just be correct?
It wasn't bashing.
No, I'm asking
that's
you.
That's why I'm trying to.
No, I'm saying. I'm just saying. Is that not correct?
You sure you ain't sitting on the cub?
I don't think so. Is that not correct?
Oh, it's over there. I got it.
Because now, if you're talking about someone who is a neo-Nazi or someone who is even like 14 or 15 who is, like as you said, being cultivated and changed by society and raised up or accidentally, brought into that culture, I think that's a different subject matter to be had. But when you're talking about children and curriculum and what we're talking about,
I think these might have been college students though.
That's a totally different thing. That's what I'm saying. But what we're talking about is children, kids. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These kids haven't been corrupted and cultivated yet. No. We're talking about how we're going to cultivate them. So then what's
the harm in telling them what the fuck happened then?
That's what I said. We're talking. That's why I'm trying to pull you away from keeping talking about this.
Do I feel
because you
feel
keep
like
going, you keep going back to what has happened and what they've done. And I'm all about teaching the history part. You keep talking about getting away from history, but then going back to it. That's what I'm saying. But listen to me.
That's not the
Listen
point.
to me for a second.
No.
But I'm saying we're trying to talk about the curriculum of this bill and what's in it, and getting away from calling it critical race theory. And then we talked about critical race theory. I'm trying to get to I'm trying to bring the timeline together for you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the way the conversation, because we need to just catch back where we are. But it's like I said, we're trying to get it away from that away from that language and shit. But then, like, you keep bringing it back to the fact that of what happened, we need to be changing somebody's mind. I'm not talking about changing people's minds. I'm talking about molding people's minds. No, but I'm saying the techniques that you're talking about with this lady and all that shit is about changing people's minds. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? You just said it's for college students, right? They already have an ideology. I'm talking about curriculum for children. We're going to teach these kids so that they don't have this ideology and don't need to be broken like this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying. That's what we're talking about.
You telling me my shit? Science, technology. Who gives a fuck about history? We talking about now. Science, technology, engineering, and math. We talking about right now.
And so that's what the whole point is to change the conversation so that if we're not talking about critical race theory, this conversation never even go. If we were coming into it and saying like, okay, someone that I trust that I know knows what's up and where I'm at is the one that's behind this and writing this, and we were to like read the bill from that perspective, we look at it differently than if we go into it thinking someone from like a right-wing policy institute wrote it and like was thinking about it through the lens of growing up with money and growing up in a country club and being like a George Jeb Bush Republican. You know what I mean? And so so when I sort of realized that something was going to get written, my fear was that they'll write something and they're going to make the people on the right end of the spectrum think that it's
Jane Elliott,
that it's fixed, right? They're going to think that it's fixed, and then 10 years from now they're going to run up on an assignment that they thought was illegal, and now they realize it ain't. Well, they can't be mad at the politician they've never seen before. Now they're mad at the black dude walking in the street. They're thinking it's their problem. That's their fault.
Check her out.
Because today's studio audience thinks that they've come to a regular Oprah Winfrey show. But without knowing it, they've walked into this exercise. It's an exercise in racism. And my guest, Jane Elliott, started this exercise a long time ago with her third grade class back in 1968 after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. What she's going to do is to demonstrate how easy it is to learn prejudice. The point being that we are taught to hate each other on the basis of the color of our skins. So today's audience was separated into two groups. Not on the color of their skin were they separated when they arrived. They were separated based on the color of their eyes. But they had no idea that they were separated. What we did was treat each group differently, discriminating against the people who had blue eyes, catering to those people with brown eyes. So here's how the blue-eyed people were treated when they arrived at the show.
Come on. Close your eyes. Blue, over there. Put it on. No. Over there. Blue, over there.
The blue-eyed people were pulled out of line, told to put on a green collar, and wait outside. When the brown-eyed people arrived, they were told to step to the front of the line. Our staff was instructed to be extra polite to brown-eyed people and to discriminate against blue-eyed people, like this one.
Isn't it interesting?
This is funny.
I think it's a treat.
But you should feel like that. Like, as a human being, no matter who you are, if a motherfucker like pulls you out of line, you were already in line with everybody else, and gives you like a green fucking collar and asks you to step aside, you should feel upset, shouldn't you? Should you not?
A woman with blue eyes was outraged when she realized we had fed the brown-eyed people.
Oh, I bet she is. Oh, she shouldn't act like
There ain't
that.
nothing but primates, man.
After 2
Yeah,
hours of being discriminated
100%.
against, the blue-eyed group began to
There's a motherfucking
There's no reason
there's
for
a
it to
study,
happen.
man, with monkeys, right, Cox? And one monkey, the monkeys, they basically get broccoli. You know what I'm saying? Some green kind of vegetation. You know what I'm saying? They get fed broccoli upon the task that they, and they do the task and they get the food. They do the task and they get the food. They do the task and they get the food. And they change it up. And they get one monkey grapes.
Because the purpose will be revealed before the show is over. The idea is
It's also
Now, the
different
first
when
time,
it's
the motherfucker took that motherfucker, he ate it, he nibbled at it, but the whole time he watching the other monkey.
Just as it doesn't matter what color
You know what I'm
skin
saying?
you have. But I want you to watch.
The next time he threw that motherfucking broccoli like, nigga,
Blue-eyed
nah.
are not as smart as brown.
No, I ain't taking that shit. I just seen you give him grapes for the same shit I'm doing.
I want a grape, yeah.
I want a grape.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You ain't nothing but motherfucking big ass primates, bro. And the longer motherfuckers act like we ain't, dog, then
I 100% agree with you on that. But the difference between you and a primate is you can use tools.
and I got a mind to use tools.
I mean, he's got a mind, he just can't use tools. I don't know how.
No, I have a mind to use tools.
But I'm
what I
saying-
mean is that.
But you don't know that his mind doesn't work that way. He just can't use tools. I mean, you can't prove that. I can't either.
A monkey can hold things. Monkey can hold things. He don't have a mind to hold things.
I've been a teacher for 25
Well,
years
and
in the public
again,
Unless it's got something to do with fucking
to
nourishment.
bring this back to like the original things, because from a segment standpoint, obviously, I think that
this morning when we brought these people in here.
Because this is what the average motherfucker thinks about when they think about critical race theory. And what I'm telling you is that these type of tactics are necessary to change the minds and hearts of what has already occurred.
I'm saying, and I'm telling you, if you want to do it to these people because they're 40 years old, that's okay. But you don't need to do it to an 8-year-old.
What I'm saying is, the truth needs to be told.
100%.
Regardless of how it makes
But
anybody feel.
I'm telling you, you don't need to do that to an 8-year-old. I don't give a fuck if he's black, white, or Mexican.
Everybody knows that, though.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And if they don't, then
That's what I'm telling you.
I believe it be black motherfuckers like you and me that'll sniff niggas out like that, and you be like, nah, nigga, nah, you ain't gonna do that.
Then we need to be those people. That's why we're here.
Well, see, to me, that's what legislation does. Legislation should keep people
Should do that to any kid.
in the middle as
Not
far
no child.
No.
and so
Because a child is just a product of whatever environment they're born into. But to lie about that environment is the
That's
crime.
something totally different.
That's the crime, and that's what's been happening.
Agreed. We're talking about going forward. We ain't talking about
Going forward,
30 years from now.
and if the truth
Or
is
backwards.
going to make a motherfucker feel uncomfortable, then so be it. That's the only way we can grow.
No one's disagreeing with you about
uncomfortableness is necessary for everyone in life. That's why I've been
100%.
telling no time.
But
Vulnerability
the
is a
motherfuckers who are
necessity.
advocating for these oppositional stances are upset that their children are going to be uncomfortable. Even though they claim to be not racist and stuff like that. And I understand that. But that's what they're advocating on behalf of. And I understand it because they're talking about the children.
And
As a father, I understand.
And they're advocating that because they're seeing the other end of the spectrum where children are being like
bullied.
Are being bullied. But
it happens. It
or-
happens. I won't lie to you. But what I'm saying is there'd be a lot less there'd be a lot more niggas like me and him, bro. You see what I'm saying? Then there will be motherfuckers that are like, oh, fuck you, little whitey. Now we got the upper hand. It ain't like that, bro, because of the pure psychology of what the fuck has been done.
It ain't like that in the real world.
Period.
So, but what?
The psychology of what has actually occurred, nobody else fucking addresses that shit.
So now the other side is literally
Some people do.
They're seeing on the news these segments where they're literally holding like slave auctions in school and letting like the black kids run an auction with the white kids.
I saw that shit.
But to me, see,
Briefly,
so
and that
to
was
me,
weird.
the issue
It's
isn't.
unnecessary.
Absolutely unnecessary.
But
That's what we're talking about. That's the shit I'm talking about.
That is fucking
You can't,
asinine.
exactly. But that's the shit that motherfuckers are trying to allow to happen.
And we don't, and neither extreme should be going on because we should be telling.
Isn't it? Is it not asinine?
Again, and to me,
I can't imagine.
to me, it's not bad because
I told my kid, if you don't drop out of that shit, bro, you a motherfucking phony.
But look,
my kid would know better.
But to me, it ain't about like.
My kid would know better. He'd be like, look, that shit seems weird.
See, like, but
But
if someone comes in and says that we're not going to do that, they immediately think that because I think right now the person coming in is someone who for the most part doesn't what
I'm gonna tell
slavery
you,
talked about. So what?
Motherfuckers try to sneak shit in little bills though, man. I'm telling you.
Sure.
Well, listen.
If you leave it to motherfucking, if this should be the motherfucking curriculum, period, bro.
Why are you on the floor?
STEM. Everything else should be your fucking choice, because the only way in the future that you're gonna fucking, only thing that really matters is how you're fucking gonna contribute. And you're gonna contribute scientifically, technologically, engineering, or fucking you're gonna have a mind for the whole thing. Because math is the beginning of it all.
So what we're
The
this,
point that I'm making is that if you want to make a bill that's going to really impact shit, make a bill that has nothing, like I just said. You make a bill and you have that motherfucking, if them kids is in school for 8 hours, you have them 2 hours, you have an hour library time for 2 hours library time for history. You know what I'm saying? All of that extra time. You let them fucking be guided by their parents. You understand what I'm saying? And if they ain't doing their fucking jobs, then the black kids will raise their fucking little white kids. You get what I'm saying? And he'll know better. Or they'll try to teach him racism, and he'll go to school and be integrated with these kids, and they have a love for science, technology, engineering, or math, because that's where they can agree. We can all agree that we want a better fucking world. We don't necessarily know how to fucking come about it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other shit going on in between there. But what we can say is that harping on history ain't gonna be it. That ain't it.
And so my man's saying everything.
In no shape, form,
he's
or
saying
fashion.
everything we're trying to get him to say. He's saying it.
I know.
Yeah. So like, but what we're saying is, you have to think shit has to be on paper, so that everybody knows the game we're playing, right? And so we don't get into the trenches where all we're talking about.
I don't
shit.
think we're reaching too far in the future with
That's not what he's talking
the
about.
4 blocks.
We're not.
You understand what I'm saying? And everything else being freedom.
You're not.
I'm telling you right now.
You're not even. Look.
Me and you were lockstep, barrel
Look,
with on the same page.
He's on the right. He's on the right more than I am. I'm on the left more than he is. And I don't even know where you are, but I'm telling you right now, we
I'm
all
in the
agree
future,
with
man.
what you're saying on
I'm in the
STEM.
motherfucking
And you know who else would agree with us on STEM? I'm gonna say this on camera. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" But Xi Jinping would agree. You know what I'm
China's
saying?
doing it.
China communist shit. That's how they get down. You know what I'm saying? You go over there and a motherfucker, your kid's on TikTok, he gets like 2 hours a day. You know what he's fucking watching? He's watching science, technology, engineering, and motherfucking mathematics on that bitch.
And so
You know what I'm saying?
I think
I'm just saying.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm
You want to build a better world, you gotta build a better world.
just saying. Listen,
You
though.
gotta say
But
fuck
this
all
is
that
the thing.
shit that happened.
But
Not all of it,
you
of
can't.
course.
This is why you
That's
can't
impossible.
do that. Human nature is that you need.
I say we do
You
that
need-
and
you
let
need-
the chips
you
fall where
need-
they're made.
You need.
That's what I say.
You need collectivism. You need like people.
I
You
believe
need
you'll
all
get that
shit.
in the concentration
You
of
won't.
the real science and technology. Man, if I sit down and I teach you everything I
How many
learned
people
from
you know sit on
2022,
the computer all
2020,
day and then they're
2022,
talking?
you don't even know that shit, bro. You don't even know I'm about to buy a life insurance policy from you to motherfucking goddamn borrow against, so I can have some capital to trade with. You don't even know that yet. Point is, if a motherfucker can connect on those bounds and those bounds alone, we don't give a fuck that we from Bell County. We ain't talking about Middlesboro. We can reminisce on that shit all day, but we talking about the future, bro.
Yep.
Let's go forward.
Yep.
Oh, I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying?
But what you can't go forward without humanity. I mean, I think you're missing a big part of it. You keep talking about science, technology, engineering, and math, But humanity is the biggest part of that. And humanity is a whole lot more than that. Those are just things that you can learn just like being a racist.
And so, look up. Let's go like this.
Humanities, literally, it's the study of.
I know we keep falling off the subject.
Humanities, the subject of humanities, is the study of literature, philosophy, art, music, dance, history, and customs of different cultures.
Right, I know that.
What I mean to say is that one needs to know thyself
100%
before they know anything else.
100%.
And that is up to the home and your home life.
That sounds great, but
what I'm saying is that's why I'm trying to give the freedom.
8 hours a day.
And that's what I'm saying. If your kid goes to school 8 hours a day, you as a parent tell him what to study in his 2-hour block that he gets in between science, technology, engineering, and math. You tell him that. And if he don't do it, that's up to you as a fucking parent. But you know what he is going to do. When he comes home with grades, them grades that matter is science, technology, engineering, and math. Not no fucking history, not what language you speak, not how well you speak it, none of that shit. Because all of that science, technology, engineering, and math comes in every fucking language.
So,
you see what I'm saying?
So let me say this.
That's how I feel.
So
I mean, that's fine for you to feel that way.
So look, hold on. When I got into this,
if my kid wants to go to, and I tell him to study Kwanzaa, then today is the day you study Kwanzaa. Today is the day you study this. Today is the day you study yada yada. And while you in the library. While you in the library for your 2-block little schedule, 3-block little, 3-hour little span. I don't know how long it's supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? But the point is, that ain't really important for real in the bigger scheme of things. The biggest scheme of things is how the fuck we survive on this planet.
So let me come back to this real quick. Give me
I'm not disagreeing.
Together or not?
Give me like 30 seconds here. First of
all,
bad. So like going back to this thing. First of all, like so this is another piece of it. Once I got into the conversation was my first thought was okay if something's going to happen, I want to try to make sure it's good. All right, and then if it's not going to be something good, I want to kill it all. I don't want it to happen.
Exactly.
Because
that's what I want out of my motherfucking politician.
We're not sitting here saying
that's what I want out of my motherfucking politician, local or otherwise.
I'm not saying this
for you to see the danger in it before I ever see it.
So I'm not
and stop it and kill it before it ever.
So that's another thing. It's human nature. It's rough. Is like as soon as someone gets in a conversation, we start thinking that's the conversation they wanted to have. I was like, okay, if this is what y'all are gonna have, if I can interject myself and either make sure something good happens or make sure this shit don't happen at all, I got to get in the conversation for a second so I can get to what I want to talk about, right? And so like that was another big part of it was trying to make sure harm wasn't done out of the sense that if something's going to do, we need to do something.
I appreciate that.
And so
I know you got our back, bro.
And so no, it ain't about again. I don't see it. It's like. First of all, John,
it ain't about back. It's about best interest. You're going to look out for your interests, but you're also going to consider another motherfucking demographics. That in and of itself, brother, is priceless.
Well, and so as I'm going around, before I even got to that bill, my thing was always telling people like I'm trying to tell you the story around what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to get you just to do it. If you're not seeing it through the lens I'm seeing it, don't vote for it. Right, so it was just like mask. Like I wasn't trying to do a mask bill, and
I agree from the jump though.
It's like it was like
I learned that in April of 2020 that the mask was the worst thing you could do because what the problem was, in essence, was an immunity problem, immune systems.
Oh yeah, well we never get that's
immunity you know what I'm saying? Immunity compromising. You know what I mean? And the mask is not the most efficient thing because what you're doing is you're taking yourself away from the elements or something. Like, you remember that I came to your house and watched it. I watched it at Pink's house. It was like April of 2020.
Well, I mean,
we're not experts on COVID, by the way.
We're definitely not. We're definitely not experts on COVID, so I'm not trying to spread no more.
As far as this bill,
definitely a disclaimer. No, hell yeah, it's definitely well needed because motherfuckers take your content right now.
As far as the mask conversation, the vaccine conversation, that was what I was trying to tell everyone there. I was like, listen, I'm not coming in here to debate science. I ain't a scientist.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about people and lives being different. And the funny thing is, when you go in a building down there, everything gets so tribal. Everyone would think that only like country ass white people feel the way I feel, and that every black dude on the planet thinks that masks should be on everybody. That's really what that's the
narrative.
And I've been telling John, I'm like, I feel like the African American community and minorities in general, if they were hearing the message differently.
Motherfuckers in the hood was not rocking no mask, bro, unless they had to.
Man, I went to I never traveled as much as I ever traveled, bro, between 2020 and 2021. Never in life. I went to Atlanta, I went to Gatlinburg, I went to Houston. Never in the past 15 years since I've been living with my wife, bro, I've never been nowhere for real. When it was like when coronavirus hit, all of a sudden I had opportunity and this, that, and the other.
Nobody
Long story
traveled.
short, never caught the motherfucking virus. Never. Was we on that mask shit? You know what I'm saying? We had them, don't get it fucked up, but
you wear them where you have to.
I mean, you wear them when you have to. You know what I'm saying? But we wasn't heavy on that shit. The only person that caught coronavirus to date in this motherfucking household is my wife. She works in healthcare.
Look,
and she cooks every meal for us.
Well, that's another thing too. You gotta look at there. But here's the other piece. Let's bring it back.
And didn't stop when she got coronavirus.
Let's bring it back to kids. So the reason I was there talking about it was because I'm like, look, again, I'm looking at it through a lens of like who's being affected. Well, and so I pulled my kids out of school and I sent them like it's called a cottage school, which is basically a private school 2 days a week. The kids that get homeschooled, the kids that can afford private, their parents have choice. They can, mask is already a decision for them. So the only people that are being forced to do anything are black kids and poor kids.
For sure.
So I think let's just talk. Let's call a spade a spade. I'm just trying to. I believe that people are smart to make this decision, and I ain't trying to debate the science because I don't know. I'm like, look at me. I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to be the world expert on this stuff. And so, but again, they were looking at it you're looking at what you're saying, coronavirus isn't a thing, and I'm like, I ain't saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's here, and the only children walking around that are having to like mask. It's like we already have a 38% literacy rate in Louisville. Now we got kids. Now we're talking about a whole other. If we're talking about fundamentals on a fundamental level, you learn to speak by seeing. It's linguistics and it's phonics and all this stuff. And so we're only hampering a generation of children that are already against the odds of making it. And the other kids here. And so like that was our main point. I think on the critical race theory stuff, I think it'd be interesting, John, that we have this conversation again to come at it instead of coming at it from even saying those 3 words.
For sure.
Having people read that document and come in and talk and say we're talking about that and not have that word anywhere in it.
For sure.
Because again, I think that's one of the issues. People come in thinking that that's your focus and that you are most worried about this in life.
Right.
And it's like, actually, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not over. It's not my main focus, but we can't talk about the real stuff because
you gotta find the wording has to be changed.
But so if one thing came out of this show that I think was positive is that we showed. Now we can come at it from another angle and avoid that terminology altogether, and see what the conversation looks like.
Yeah.
With with someone with a similar type person. I think that's the whole. Again, and this whole concept of looking at things on the ground as they are.
Because you see what I'm saying now, right?
Yeah.
Because I know it because I had the same and a similar reaction. You know what I'm saying? When it was brought to my attention because your first line of defense is to go offense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like as a strong person, you know what I'm saying? Like as a man and like someone who goes forward, like you're going to go offense. So you're just going boom, 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 hit all your points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I've been saying, like if you don't take those words out of it, then that's what it's going to become, and that's not what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not what we want it to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't want my name attached to nothing like that because I'm all about motherfucking telling the truth. I'm all about putting it in front of a motherfucker's face, raw, uncut. You know what I'm saying? And letting the motherfucker make a decision on it. Look, I'll say it on tape, write it in pen. If you go out and you hear all the motherfucking history about what happened to you or what you done to someone and you're willing to deal with it and you want to be a dickhead and an asshole and a racist and a fucking jive turkey or whatever you want to be, yeah, let the chips fall where they may fall. You know what I'm saying? But what needs to happen is
I was yelling because I had motherfucking headphones on.
What needs to happen though is you're right. You're 100% right about the STEM and all that shit. But along with that, which I think this is going to be the part of the show that I bring to it the most, is going to be the part where you have to think about what you're talking about. When we were talking about the bill, you keep going to the psyche. We have to bring the psyche of it to the education part too. So if we're gonna make it about the psyche and try to change the psyches, let's start with the
psychology
kids.
in
No,
it.
Listen to me. Just listen to what I'm saying.
Let's study. Let's study where we come psychologically.
I agree. But listen to, I'm saying
to the masses.
The curriculum can literally be made in a way, and the truth can be told in a format and in a fashion where it doesn't have to be bashing or whitewashed at all. It literally can be the truth, and you do as you may with it, and then you fucking do the class that you're supposed to do. Like, I don't see why everything has to be either or scenario. Why can't it be the truth? Because the truth is, I can do STEM and teach history
and their psychology,
correctly.
right? How they psychologically handle the information that is.
Well, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not.
No. I'm saying that's what we're most worried about.
Molding children.
Exactly.
That's
You're molding them psychologically.
I'm talking about molding them. Period. As
well, you gotta start with you. If you ain't got their minds, you ain't got nothing.
Oh.
Right. We can agree on that, right?
I mean, you need to harden it. But
we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
If you ain't got their minds, you ain't got nothing, right?
Right, yeah, no, 100%.
So why isn't psychology and them understanding their own minds pushed at a younger age?
All those things should be
so when you talk about STEM, you can throw a P on that motherfucker. Because
where you gonna put it? It's gonna be a weird word. STEM. That's not good.
I like STEM.
That's not good.
STEM, man.
That's not good.
STEM.
That's
what I'm gonna advocate for.
Well, no, look. Here's the deal. STEM is
it's
part.
Great base curriculum.
But you gotta be able to understand your own mind before you ever really dig into those
you definitely have to be a person.
You know.
Well, you're
that's the only point.
I'm just saying, as young people, I wish a motherfucker would have really. I wish a motherfucker would have pushed understanding myself and my own mind, not understanding my physical self as much as I understand how I'm thinking and why I'm thinking.
Well, see, and I think that's what whenever
I do.
I mean, almost. I won't. That's almost more important than because until you.
It's tough.
That's why there's so little people. That's why there's so little people that understand science, technology. You see what I'm saying? Engineering and math, because those types of things are strenuous psychologically. You understand what I mean?
I just think aren't
they? Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of things that are strenuous psychologically.
True, that's true. But you would. but you've shown and proven that we would rather embrace those things that are psychologically strenuous, that are more physical. They lean more on the physical side.
Yeah, I would
because
disagree.
sports is fucking psychologically strenuous.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I think that.
You know what I'm saying? But it's more on. It leans more on the physical side and the result. You know what I'm saying? The results that you can physically grasp than what you can psychologically
as much
grasp.
as a stress giver, it's also
You
a
understand
stress
what I'm saying?
reliever
Well,
too, because you're exerting
I think
yourself.
that determines. I think that's determined off of like the person, off your coach. Just say, like, I look at a teacher like a coach. You know what I mean? They're like they're leading you in a direction.
Big facts,
you know,
big
so
facts.
like the STEM stuff on board. I think that what I told John while you're in the bed. I think the way to go about it. I think we proved one point here. That's vocabulary matters, and coming at it from a same critical race theory at the beginning, it shaped it. So the next conversation we'd like to have, I think would be if we all came in here and all we were doing was going through and like the bill that I'm saying again, that I'm saying it wasn't what if I was going to spend my time on something, what I would have chosen to spend my time on. It's what was
presented.
It's what was going. It's what was going. It's what was being. What was going to
happen. It happened how it happened.
It was going to happen with or without input of a critical thinker. I'm not saying these people aren't critical thinkers, because there are good people in these conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
But but as far
they've thought about what we've thought about too.
And so
I don't put that past.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not no brilliant motherfucker, bro. They've thought about this shit and then thought in the opposite direction
Shouldn't
as
sell
well.
yourself short though. You should never think that other people are just smarter than you. Just
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I play chess.
But
and what I'm saying is that
you should never think you're the smartest man in the room.
You know, so it's a mirroring effect, is what it is.
What I'm
you
saying,
understand what
I'm
mean by
saying
that?
is the people like I think the most people in the room, and most people in power, all right, minus a few, we think we project on other people, and we think they have our perspective, and they even have, it's even possible for them to think about it, because we devalue our own lives, and we think that like what we went through either wasn't tough, either wasn't hard, or it was too easy. Maybe it might have been a little tougher than we thought, or whatever. And so we're making these assumptions, and then what's really happening is the people in power are basic people,
right?
That are not above. And so like I'm just like, I see a window.
A lot of them are psychologically incompetent.
But we're moving in a direction to where better people can get involved. But if we don't identify those people and bring them together and get them to realize that we're like our little group is different from the others in any given scenario, because they don't have the perspective, or they don't have the life experience to even be able to hear this perspective, because they never experienced.
They're willing to talk about it.
You know, maybe they're willing, but they just can't. They also just can't. You know what I mean? They just don't.
I get that.
They can't there's things about in my life I'm never gonna be able to understand what it's like to be like a black person in America. I'm never gonna be able to never. But I do.
I disagree.
What I say, but I do know.
I ain't never gonna understand how it feels to be a motherfucking hobbit looking for a ring. But when I hear the literature and when I watch it and I take in the content, I find relations to that.
Yeah, exactly. So we can.
If you were to be exposed to James Baldwin, the Invisible Man actually ain't James Baldwin. I'm sorry, I misquoted. But the point of it is, if you were to be exposed to some of these things, you might be able to put yourself in a black man's shoes and then go out and project that into the world.
That's what I was going to say. I'm never going.
And I'm not talking about fucking that appropriating and you what's up, dog? I'm talking about you can understand it from a different point of view. Like
John and I have talked about this. So like, I'll never be able to know what it is to be black, but I can try as hard as possible. And so what normally happens is what you just said. A white dude becomes what you just said, and like I was making fun of myself one more time. Like when I was younger, I would walk around with my little Michigan color FUBU jersey, because I thought in order to be a black culture, I had to try to be something I wasn't, and that I couldn't be. Instead of just being who I was and thinking and trusting that I had value, right?
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
Nowadays it's like I can see that I can. Doesn't matter if I have a blazer on or not. I can put myself in a culture and try to understand and add value to it without trying to be the most valuable part of it.
Man, listen,
you know what I mean? And like
you done taught me so much in the past couple of hours, bro. Like,
that's what I
for
was
real,
saying.
bro. Like I you know, and like I said, I had watched the podcast or whatever too with dude on it. I've been, it's kind of on some keep it all the way 1,000. It's on some know thy enemies type shit, but that's a whole different story.
Which one's he talking about?
I think something about
Jordan dude.
Oh, okay.
Jordan
gotcha.
Peterson, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's been advocating, and he's a really great thinker. But one of his biggest issues is that he neglects his own basis and his own point of view. Like, what do I want to say? It's only building blocks. The way you think and the way you are and who you the fuck you are, bro, is only a building block. And there's a block at the bottom that's a base. If that gets pulled like Jenga, you get what I'm saying? The whole shit comes tumbling down. In your mind, that's how you feel. But it's not really true. What happens is it's magical Jenga, and you replace that block.
It's replaced by whatever blocks above it. Let's
No,
say it's falling.
you replace that block with one that's more valuable. Like what we were saying. You throw that block the fuck away.
I'm listening
You
to
see
what
what I'm
you're saying,
saying?
and I'm listening at what
You throw that block away. It's no longer valuable.
But if that, what it says,
Now you're dealing with this block.
if that block's gone, the next block up is whatever you filled your life with, your life experiences.
Y'all just talking about different visuals, same concept.
Yeah, I'm not.
Because I got
break it down then.
Look, you're talking about a block coming out and a block going back in.
Absolutely.
Okay. All he's talking about is the block, however it is, crushed, removed, whatever. The base falls down. A pyramid. If you have a pyramid, it has a base. You move it, it's going to fall down.
I get it.
There's going to be another block on the top because you added something new because you decided that your ideology was wrong. What was I talking to you about earlier?
Indeed,
Yeah.
Jenga.
So what was I talking to you about earlier? About the fact that you need to be loose with your idea and your ideology. You know what I'm saying?
I think I am.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know.
But I'm saying like that's the analogy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to make an opinion, research your opinion, and make a determination on whether it's valid and useful to you or not.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if it is, you hold on to it until your idea or your opinion is challenged. A better idea is presented, and you just throw your idea away. You don't stack nothing on top of it.
Just throw it out.
Just throw it out.
Throw it the fuck out. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Or
like
you have to crush it.
to
Basically the same.
You decided early on that they had no basis, no value to you, and you threw it the fuck out.
Well, but here's the deal. So this is where like me and John, like, it's probably on the side of your.
I think you told me that you like remember like when you decided like. It was
I remember the time.
You remember when you were thinking about it
when this happened, when it happened to me, and like. Well, I was in second grade. You know Lauren Trent from Pineville?
Yeah.
So I went to Miller Creek Christian Academy and went to Pineville. I was in second grade, Miss Baden's class, and we were talking about Martin Luther King or something like that. And like, this goes to show you how as kids, like, you're not aware of things, and you don't even think about how they're affecting other people.
You don't even know how you think yet.
But we were talking about slavery or whatever, and so somehow it came up on like. It's like derogatory terms or whatever. We're talking black people. And I popped up in second grade and I said, in my house, we call them hard R's.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was like it didn't even.
Like, you didn't know no better.
I had never. It's like I wasn't thinking negatively about another person, but.
You didn't know no better. You literally didn't know no better.
If I would have kept doing it, that
naive as hell.
But if we'd have kept on, that word as you get older becomes associated with different things, and now all of a sudden you're just racist because it's like it's just who you are. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I remember thinking, and Lauren, I remember her crying. I remember her like upsetting her in class, and like, sorry Lauren, I'm like calling her out. We might have like a million subscribers one day now. Her name's gonna be on blast. But like, I remember thinking like,
sign the NDA for us.
I remember thinking
yeah,
like,
I know, right?
dang, that was like, okay, what just happened to make like.
Yeah.
I just did something and hurt someone, and I don't even know why.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then later on in life, when I was like 6th grade or something, me and Rashad, me and Shadi were like best friends and all that. And like, I remember my stepdad said I thought in order to be like accepted by black people, I had to let my jeans sag and had to wear FUBU jerseys and all that. And even though it's like it didn't make me
as black kids, we thought we had to do
but it
that.
probably made me less.
You understand?
Probably
as
made me
black
less.
Kids, we thought we
like
had to
less
do that.
endearing to like black parents and black, the black community. It was like, this dude's looking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
and so I remember my stepdad
sure.
was like, stop acting like a, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he'd been saying his whole life. Well, he didn't know Rashad was behind me, and he was coming down the stairs, and like Rashad just like froze up and like fell back in a corner because like obviously if you're like a black person or any other person you're like in a hostile situation where it's like, oh crap, is that how this whole household thinks of me? Like, am I in danger? It was like that changed my stepdad's life because he was like, oh my god, like I just made a child feel that way. Now he's never told me that happened to him, but I know the way he talks about things.
I mean, I told you, I remember I told you I never even knew that Rick was even a remotely racist.
Well, it's like, I don't think, again, I don't
he
think.
always treated me with the utmost respect.
I don't think he ever thought about.
How old is Rick?
He's he's like 57 now or something, 58.
Look, my daddy's age.
For sure.
And
listen, all of them motherfuckers is bigots. Everybody 60 years up, 50, 55 and up is bigots. Believe that. On either side.
Oh,
my daddy one of the most motherfucking bigots. Oh man, I'll tell you what. And he got white friends and stuff like that, but he's one of those motherfuckers that approached the reality that he lived, and it's built on building blocks.
Yeah. But
talk
about building blocks, like
it's built on that.
I had a building block, and in that moment, that one disintegrated or whatever, got pulled out from underneath me, and it fell down. Now it's like we talked about this before as well. Like but
it reestablished that other block on the top that made you the person that you are. The person that was like, I'm never going to make another person feel like that.
No. Fast forward, the person who gives a fuck about Louisville inner city kids.
Yeah, that too.
But you see what I'm saying? That couldn't have happened if that didn't happen.
Yeah, but that's many blocks later.
It doesn't matter though.
But to bring that all the way back to this bill.
It starts somewhere though.
For sure. To bring that all the way back to this bill and what I was talking about with education earlier, that's what I mean with the curriculum, is being able to absolutely remove those blocks from the curriculum and replace them with better blocks, because we have better blocks available. You talk about STEM, that's how we replace the shit. We build a better fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? That's
all I'm saying.
Shit, no one's disagreeing with you. No one's disagreeing with you.
I know it.
You just fucking, you got, people just need to understand that in order for us to grow as people,
we gotta go through
and
the
to advance, you have to. You gotta go through. You have to. Let me put it to you in a good old country boy way. If you want to motherfucker make a garden, you better get rid of the motherfucking snakes. You gotta get some calluses. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get some calluses.
You better get rid of some shit, man. You gotta get rid of shit out of the motherfucker. Or shit ain't gonna grow.
Regardless, you have to. Regardless, even if you don't get a harvest the first time, you got to know you didn't get a harvest the first time to know how to get a harvest the second time. We got to go through the go-throughs as Americans.
So I come back to
and I think that's what they are trying to do when they are proposing that we teach history as is, even with all the mucky shit.
But
that's what I would hope.
That's what we hope. That's what we hope.
You're right, 100%. That's what we hope.
That's what I would hope.
But it's up to us to make sure of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, that's what we're talking about, this curriculum.
And so for me, the goal should be, let's give more little kids like me the opportunity to experience what I experienced that day. But if that teacher would have started it off of like,
it has to be natural.
Having these thoughts make you a terrible person and you could never get better. Would I have said that word and had that moment of like vulnerability? I'd have been like, I better not say this out loud, dude. I know that's bad. You know, like, so we want to give people the opportunity. So like, and then what should have happened? Well, if she wanted to make it more likely I have that experience, she would have let me said that. And then instead of, there's got to be, you need to feel a little.
Well, did you get suspended?
I didn't. No. So hear me out. So like, but here's the deal.
You're reprimanded in any way for saying it.
But here's the deal. No, you're right. And so that's what allowed me to be able to get to the point where I could grow from it. You know, but at the same time, hopefully, it was.
If it was more black kids in the room, you probably got beat up.
Well, no. But, so listen to me. What I'm saying.
Just for making a little black girl cry.
But
I can imagine.
But here's the deal.
I can imagine myself like, oh yeah, because I took up for Ebony when Michael Parton. You remember Michael Parton? He fighting motherfucker too, boy.
But look, here's the deal.
I'm also saying, and shit,
I don't want. I'm also not saying so. Like that teacher, I can't remember what happened after that. I had the experience I had, but who knows? It may have negatively affected Lauren because we didn't deal with it after that. Like what should have happened is whenever that happened, the teacher should have been like, "Boom! Everybody think about what just happened. Let's stop and let's talk about this for a second."
We're talking about psychology.
And it should have been again. We are.
But we're talking about psychology.
No, you are.
I think that teachers, for starters,
it's
I think
always
teachers should be paid
naturally.
more. And for two, I think they
sure.
should have courses in psychology before they decide to be teachers.
I definitely think you should have to do something. But what I'm saying is,
I think they should be paid more for that.
So let's come back to this conversation about that instance. It would be easy to sit and say, okay, we want more white kids to have that experience. But the flip side is we have to think, okay, but we also want it to be a positive experience for the little black girl that could have just been destroyed emotionally.
Right, 100%.
And so we can't protect that. We can't destroy little white kids' personas just so that we can make black kids. And we can't, and we for sure can't do that.
And that is the debate.
And that,
but it's not debatable when you consider the fact that that's already is what is being done.
No,
for sure.
So again, 100%. I'm not coming at this from the angle that I'm trying to protect the white kid. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
You absolutely are, because you have white kids and you are a white kid, and I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is that is what you are supposed to say. What is supposed to be done is something different. What's supposed to be fucking done is you are supposed to have that. You are supposed to suscept your child to that same vulnerability. So, by all means, what you're saying is that they should grow up in the same type of era that you grew up in, where it was comfortable to say that. Now, like I said, if there were more black kids in your motherfucking class when you said that to Lauren, you probably would have got your ass beaten. It would have been a whole different experience.
Well, but you know what?
You wouldn't have got the way your way to feel that out.
But
you see what I'm saying?
So what I'm saying is, to me, it ended up being a positive experience. But it shouldn't have happened just because it was going to be a positive experience for me, because it very well could have been a negative experience too.
I agree. It absolutely was. It showed you that it was. She left crying.
And so, but like it's like the fact that I don't know that they had thought out moving forward, like if something like this happens, how do we assist? So I would almost lean to the side of, if we're going to lean on the side of caution, it should be towards the historically oppressed group.
Historically,
okay. I will
simple.
And I'm absolutely, and John would probably disagree with us on that. All right, but like I'm the type.
I wouldn't disagree.
But like as far as I'm
I just
actually,
think you should just tell the truth in general. Like I don't know why there has to be a leaning on either side. I don't know what's wrong with just telling the truth.
Fuck a leaning. It shouldn't be a focus, is what I'm saying.
You said it should be a focus.
It should not be a focus.
Okay, I agree.
The focus should be on the future.
I agree 100%.
With science, technology, engineering, math, and above all else, psychology. A person understanding their own mind before they understand anything else.
Psychology is a tricky thing because you're having somebody try to teach a motherfucker who they are.
You're having
a motherfucker that's as dangerous as anything in the world.
You're not teaching them who they are. You're teaching them how to understand.
You're talking about kids. If you're teaching a kid that, then you're molding them to be who you want them to be.
That's what they're doing anyway, though.
I'm not arguing.
That's what you're doing anyway.
Yeah,
let them arm them with the capabilities to do it to the best of their abilities.
I agree with that 100%.
But
there's a lot more to do with that than just psychology. And one of those.
I'm just saying psychology because psychologically, I already know that I ain't no mathematician. I failed algebra twice. You know what I'm saying? I failed algebra to get my diploma.
And what I'm saying is, it's great, and it's a great thing to want to train everybody in STEM. Awesome. Some people aren't going to be good at it. Are we in agreement on that?
Absolutely.
Everybody's not going to be good at that. So above all else is to make sure that you're making decent fucking human beings. You know what I'm saying? So the way to make decent human beings is to start them off, and like I said, you make fucking less losers. You know how you make fucking less losers? You fucking make people equal in the beginning, not in the end. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the way you do that is not by fucking teaching them that they're different, by teaching them that they're the fucking same. And that they should be growing up the same.
Don't
and they
focus on the differences. Focus on what is the same.
You should be making decisions based on those.
They will already know the differences. Kids
of course.
will already know
that's
the
going
differences.
to come out natural.
It's going to come out natural.
100%. That's
but
what
is being
I'm saying.
focused on is what is the same.
Exactly. The same is, all you motherfuckers need to eat. All you motherfuckers need to sleep. All you motherfuckers need to shit. You all need to learn to read. You all need to learn how to talk. You all need to learn how to maybe speak a couple languages soon.
I don't believe.
You all need to learn
I don't believe
how
learning how to read.
You definitely need to learn how to read. How are you going to communicate?
No, because listen though.
I'm not saying it's the most important.
This might sound controversial, but I believe that science, technology, engineering, and math are universal languages. And I'm gonna tell you.
Not if you can't read them.
You know, it's funny you say that because it reminds me of that story in the Bible, right? Where they building the Tower of Babel. You know what I'm saying? And they all had different languages, bro. They all had different languages.
Well, but no, they didn't have different languages until God realized they were trying to build a tower to heaven, and they were building it.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
But then when he realized they were doing that, he knocked the tower down and changed their language in the center of the corner of the earth.
That is the story, but what do I get from that? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
It doesn't matter.
If a motherfucker can communicate, they can build in things outside of language and things of that nature. If they can just communicate about the thing that they're trying to do.
But
listen to me.
But on planet Earth,
Neuralink is like what you're talking about. Being able to communicate with words
and stuff, yeah.
Like
it ain't telepathy as much as it is me working with these Mexicans on this roof. I don't even know how the fuck they talking. I don't know what the fuck they talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
But you understand their fucking gestures and shit like that.
You understand things of that nature because it has something to do with science, technology, engineering, and math.
I mean, body language is language.
I'm connecting with them.
Well, and it's habitual. So when you're roofing, the language is roofing.
Concrete.
Concrete. It's
The language is concrete.
Yeah.
But
What are you
going to do when
more than it is what you're saying, right or wrong?
But what are you going to do when you go
You're
go
building
away
something.
from your
You're
trade?
engineering.
What are you going to do when you go away from your trade?
I don't understand what you mean.
Like, I mean, you have to move through society. So if the only way you can communicate is with your engineering and stacking blocks and shit, how do you communicate if you want to go get something?
You don't. You stack blocks and you get fed.
This dude.
Oh.
This dude.
So you're talking about being a caveman.
What I'm talking about is a motherfucker doing what the fuck they know how to do. For starters, I've learned a lot of Spanish on the job.
I'm sure. I'm
Because
sure you
I'm a
have.
bright
Because you
so
needed
there'll
it.
be bright motherfuckers
Because
that are
you
exceptions
needed
to
it.
the rule.
No, I'm saying, of course.
But the other motherfuckers get fed because they can lay bricks, nigga. Fuck you talking
But
about?
everybody's going. You know, you wouldn't speak if it wasn't beneficial for you.
What all
I'm saying
is
people didn't start speaking because it was harmful to them.
And I don't disagree with teaching language. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is it's not as important as motherfuckers is really making it out to be, because we can speak a universal language even if we don't speak the same language. We speak in engineering. We speaking mathematics. A motherfucker
I'm not disagreeing with that.
It don't matter what the fuck. You writing numbers on the motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? You writing them numbers down. Numbers is the same.
Here's the deal. It's like if you want to learn all day, nobody can learn one discipline all day. So you got to
way.
And so, but here the moral of the story from our conversation with Mike that I'm getting is everything Mike is saying is a conservative value. It's freedom. It's like, it's empowerment. It's providing the tools to give equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome, but equality of opportunity to go out and be able to fight for yourself and your own and provide for them, or
Sounds
not.
like something I can get behind.
Or not.
I'm not really a political type of dude, but that sounds like everything you said so far.
And so my whole thing, and I've been telling the people who've been asking me, are you going to keep trying to be in politics? I'm like, I don't see myself being a typical political pundit. If I have a political motive, it is to stop talking about Republicans and Democrats, because I don't think we're ever going to get like minority communities to just adopt those labels. But if we get into stuff, and there's other topics we'll talk about other days that if we get into like the value of like family values, you've talked about dads more than if like a white dude from Alabama that believes that black people are just bad would have heard this conversation, he would have said the word father more times in this conversation than that guy would have thought you would say in a lifetime, because they think the black people the problem is the black fathers, the black culture doesn't value family. Right. When we all know historically black people have been more religious, more centered on the family, because in the slavery days that was all you had.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and your children were being ripped from you, and you were longing for them for God knows how long, decades or whatever. Never
everything
seen
you're talking about though is called, we can say, are ailments of psychological damage that has already been done.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is that psychology makes the African American community, in my opinion, and culture, in my opinion, more prone to conservative values and principles than anything else. Because it's not so. I feel like that even though to me it's a very like liberty-minded culture that isn't thinking about the collective, because you had to worry about, but it's more collective just than anything, because when you get down to the nuts and bolts and family, and not even blood family, like the people close. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm so close with so many black folks, is because they embraced me the second I came around. You know what I'm saying? So like that's all conservative value. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that
to an extent, To an extent.
Don't think conservative as Republican. I'm talking about conservative as like...
No. I'm thinking of conservative as what the word suggests, which is conserving an idea that is probably being forgotten. That's why it needs conserving.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it comes back to like when we come to like, we talk about like, we talk about like abortion and like you know, again, I'm just talking about abortion in this one. It's another topic we can talk about some other time. But in this one instance, you'll have people that are against abortion, right? And so the people that come out for abortion are, you've got these two extremes. But to me, the problem is that like that people take it that there's more black babies that are aborted on a year-to-year basis. They take that as black people support abortion. And my point is like, no, the fact that that's happening and the fact that I know that black people care about their own...
I think it's a direct correlation to the class system, though.
Exactly. No, it's what I'm talking about. That's what. So to me, it's more about it's showing the
that black people can't afford
the systemic disparity. And so, all right, get to heart of this. So my point in this was the other day was
they do a lot of fucking, but they can't afford their babies.
So I've been going around. I've been making this point to Republicans when I'm trying to tell them like, listen, don't think of me as like a big R George Bush Republican. No, because I'm not one of these people who thinks you don't spend money. I'm against.
He don't know Papa Joe, a Republican.
But listen, I'm against. It's like, yes, I'm against abortion, but I'm against it wholeheartedly. But I also don't. I think it's
I'm
absolutely
not against it wholeheartedly.
Well, but let me finish my thought. My point is that we expect people to be able to outlaw something like that and say you can't do it, but then not provide a safe passage through prenatal care and OBGYN stuff, and then like if the mother doesn't want it, finding it a home, like providing, you know, and again, we don't want more black children being born without like a sustainable or a viable future, but I certainly don't want them to. I'd rather them be born with no sustainable future than to not be born. But then you come into this point of like, okay, but was it better to be born and be a slave than not be born? It's like that's a philosophical question. So to me, it's like we shouldn't be having it. If we're going to outlaw abortion, you should never have to worry about if you can afford 100%. To have a child, like it's safely and to be healthy for it and get it delivered and make sure it's cared for, because that's really why people have abortions. Like you said, it's not because they don't love their freaking children. It's God makes all mothers care for them, other than the outliers from like a mental disorder or something like that. Not care, they care about them. So if they're doing this, why are they doing it?
Right.
It's not cause black.
I just think it's a direct correlation to classism.
I think I know that's what I'm saying. But we're not. But we're not thinking about it like that. We're thinking about it as like they want to murder their babies, I don't. It's like no, that's not the case. It's that
they can't afford to have a kid.
And psychologically, it's not. It's maybe they say I can't just afford my child, but I can't live with the shame of it every single day that I can't provide for it. So I'm talking about it's a lifelong.
That's a two-pronged thing.
And so I just think we're not talking about the conversation over there at all. When it comes to marijuana, to me it's not about is it bad or good. It's about what is our system set up for right now. Is it setting people up for more opportunity or more failure? And to me it's like it doesn't matter if it's bad or good. If it's creating more chaos, then what we're doing needs to be scrapped.
Especially if it's not harmful.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
Like, man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I sit here and smoke weed, and I think so differently about weed. But it's
fine for you to think however you want.
Yeah.
And you can feel however you want personally.
Yeah.
But it's not harmful to the environment or to anyone other than yourself and your own psyche.
And which, you know like, for instance, if I'd have knew who I was psychologically before I ever picked up a motherfucking joint, I'd have been a whole different person.
And you'll be a different person.
A whole different person.
Once you go through your transformation that you're going through and all that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Two things real quick. One, my only problem with abortion, I'm definitely not like against abortion or for abortion. I think there are great arguments on both sides. And I personally don't think I should really have a dog in the fight because I can't have one.
That's kind
But-
of how I feel too.
But at the same
That's
time,
more where I lean
this
towards.
is where I draw the line at. And my boy Kurt gets credit for this right here. He says, "Are you pro-birth or are you pro-life? Because if you're pro-life, it's about what you're talking about. All right, we're pro-life. Let's have all the babies. Let's give them all a fucking place to go. Let's fucking give them some food stamps. Whatever we need to do, you know what I'm saying, to make sure this kid can be successful. You know what I'm saying? And other than that, then you're just pro-birth to me. You just want them to have the baby and whatever fucking happens, happens. Who cares? No one cares if they go into foster care or if they're fucking raped by Uncle Willie or
As interesting that
left
you
with
should say
grandma
that.
and all that kind of
As
shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting as you to say that because when I think about the abortion laws and stuff like that, if you force these mothers to have these babies, now mind you, of course, a little
I
nigga
think you
had
should be able to choose
a little
those.
motherfucker had the nut in her for her to have
For
it.
sure.
You see what I'm saying?
And it's
But-
also not fair to fathers sometimes too.
Yeah.
There's lots of factors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when
I don't want to have
That's
an
my.
abortion.
I ain't gonna lie. That's
conversation,
just
actually.
just me being a dad, dude. If you're gonna force these women to have these babies, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's basically like slavery because you got me by the balls.
I was going
See what I'm
another
saying?
part of that is child support.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
got
saying?
me
That's
by
a
the
whole other
nutsack.
racket.
You're saying that you're willing to do your part as the government to fucking do whatever, but what if I'm not capable of that?
Well, and it's another thing.
But
We
that's what
we
I-
all assume we're all
No.
we're all defining abortion different. It's like,
For sure.
When I say I'm
Different.
when I say I'm
100%.
against abortion, well, in
Big
my
girl
mind,
wants to
in
be
my
an
mind, an
abortion.
abortion is like you're having it. You're is ending a pregnancy when you already knew it was like
Well, this is a
that,
baby.
it's a like, you know what I'm saying. This ain't like oh shit or oh crap some stuff happened and I didn't go like
Week later.
I didn't go to the clinic. You know, like,
Right.
or we come, like, when you come from the level.
But a
I mean,
woman can have an abortion, nigga, by just drinking a bunch of alcohol while she pregnant.
Yeah, all kinds of shit can go wrong.
Listen, if the bitch don't want to have that baby, she don't have it.
Oh, she definitely knows how to fucking destroy herself.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
not
for
saying-
real.
I'm not
Let's
saying-
be realistic
what I'm
with
saying
it,
is
for real, for
there-
real.
there's- yeah, but
These
it's-
women have more power than we men give them from the jump.
There's times and places like to make decisions, and so one of my arguments is, obviously, there's got to be some arbitrary time, and someone's going to get screwed over by it. But it's like, at some point in time, it is a living, breathing being in there, and like it's a viable. You know, there's been babies that have lived to made it to 20 weeks pregnancy or whatever. But like, so there's a point there, you know what I mean, where you got to like, okay, what? But to me, it takes away the fact that some people are like, well, they got raped, or they were young and they weren't ready to have that decision. There's times in our lives we can all attest to this. We are forced to grow up when we're forced to grow up, and if something bad happens to you, I don't care. I hate that you're having to grow up at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, but it is what it is. So like, you know, it's like
we were just talking about that.
I'll be telling my daughters.
Will agree with you.
When my daughters are 10, 11, 12 years old, I'm not going to hide what the realities of the world are out there, because I'm like, listen, if somebody does something, you're raped, you need to know what that would mean so that you could know to tell me. You know, like,
The
you don't know
definition
what.
is being changed as we speak.
But it's like you need to know you can come to me, and you need to know this is what needs to happen, because if you don't, you're going to wake up 20 weeks later and I'm going to see you have a baby in your belly. You might not even know if you're young and you're like, you were like molested, you don't even know what's going to happen in your body. You're pregnant later on down the road. So to me, it's just about like.
But where does that start though?
It starts in a family. It's like,
family values.
so we are straight on like that conversation is the conversation I'm talking about having. You know what I mean? Like any kind of parental choice or parental empowerment movement is painted as a right wing lunatic movement. When I'm saying like, and it's the right wing people, the certain people that are obviously the ones talking about it the most. It's their fault for not winning the war of ideas and telling the story around what they're trying to do. And so,
or at least being investigative enough to do so.
And coming, and getting into like
that's the main idea. Is your politicians should have investigative journalists in passion. You understand what I'm saying? To get to the root of certain causes.
Well, and so this is another topic.
Does that make sense?
Another discussion later is
and
about,
they should have the fucking liberty to do so.
Is about like politicians and how the way we look at them as civilians and what we think they're capable of and what we think they have at their disposal. We as people feel, and I would say that like this is something white people are most guilty of, is to us, like while calling us, I mean like the white collective, we look at the black community and say like, it's y'all's job to change our minds. You know what I mean? Instead of saying like we're living in a world together, let's meet like.
It sounds like that.
If I have time in my day to insert myself in the community and make myself vulnerable.
As a summary, it sounds like that sometimes. The energy is that sometimes.
It's that word. It's like even the people that I think mean well in their mind. It's like, well, they make me well. Well, listen, black people, we're giving you the opportunity to live in our world.
Hey, it's funny though. The niggas like us, man, we take the challenge. But you have a lot of black men that will not take that challenge.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? You have a whole nother black diaspora that will not take up that challenge.
And that's the part don't nobody want to talk about. And that's the thing. And people are probably gonna watch this. I keep smacking my motherfucking mic. People probably gonna watch this and be like, damn, that motherfucker right there, he's always combating shit. He always wants to go at the other black dude and this and that, but it ain't even like that. It ain't like that. It's just about the fact that someone like me has to challenge what the fuck you think is what's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because not you in general.
No,
it's the world's what they think we're like.
I mean,
and who we are. Because
I hope that's the value that you bring to the world
at the end of the day. I'm just a regular fucking person, just like you're a regular person, like he's a fucking regular person. You know
like
what I'm saying?
my children are regular people.
My children will be,
bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You know
and my children will be as well.
And I tell them all the time. I say, listen, we done with the stage of me putting my hands on you. Because if any man put his hands on you, bro,
you know what you're supposed
to be upset. Mm-hmm. You supposed to act like a man now. Cause you here now. You know what I'm saying? Like
2-3 minutes.
But at the same time, you supposed to not do shit to get hands put on.
Anything you want to get in?
That's your obvious responsibility. Don't do shit, get hands put on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if a motherfucker putting their hands on you, you supposed to be mad. And if they more powerful than you, you supposed to be mad enough to never let whatever it was that they put hands on you happen again.
For sure.
So I'll wrap this up with two points. I'll wrap this up with two different points. There are two different points. One of them's about the whole conversation. One's about this. So I think with what you're saying is that's how I'm talking with my sons and stuff like that as well. But when I'm in this building over here, I know I'm aware of who I am, and I know I look a certain type of way, and so individually I see it as like a challenge. Like I'm trying to change hearts and minds because I realize it's bigger than me,
and you will.
And so I think everyone should raise their children to think
because
that way.
I'm gonna tell you why. You have that investigative journalist fucking energy.
But what I'm saying, so we should raise our children that way, right? But then we shouldn't impose that standard on entire, like, I can't, as a white person, I can't expect every black person that comes around to act totally correct in my name and whatever at all times. That's not fair because we have our own experiences. But as an individual, we should be, as parents, we should be saying like, hey, listen, you represent all of us when you're out there. You know what I mean? I know y'all would. I know we all would do that. So that's one thing. The other point I was going to make was that I think it's what we're trying to do. This podcast is if everyone. This is probably that like servant leadership type stuff. Like if everyone would live their life thinking like, how is this affecting everyone around me, and how how can I positively affect everyone around me in the real, like in that moment, and how are the decisions I'm making going to have, like, even if it benefits me, how is it? And I think this is what happens with people like us. We think this way. I'm willing to go through some pain to make something easier on a kid, but the people that are getting to the top of our capitals, whether it be state, federal, or they're making it to the people that are making it to the boardrooms, the people that are making it to like top of the stock market. You know, these aren't. I'm not saying there aren't good people out there, but at the end of the day, I think most of them, they're willing for there to be casualties. Right. And because of right now that you have to think that way. But if everyone would just say, I'm going to think about every casualty before something that I do makes that casualty be incurred. If everyone would think that way, it would change. It would, like, you know what I'm saying, and be willing to be vulnerable and be willing to say, like, you know, be willing to listen and then say stuff and then react to it and say, oh, you know, I was wrong on that, or like there's certain things that we talk about today. I'm like, okay, I know my idea is. I'm not worried to walk away from my idea yet, but my approach is obviously wrong. It's my job. Yeah. It's my job to figure out the way to make it to where it's appealing to other people. And if 10 tries in, I can't. Then
it's just information.
Then I just need to walk away from it, and maybe someone else can do it. And maybe maybe it is wrong. Maybe I just need to admit that it's wrong and try something else. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's the main thing I think from this world.
I think the main thing is to make certain ideas irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Because if the idea is good enough, all the other ideas will be irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the cream rises.
Well, I'm talking more about focus and focusing on, like, for instance,
totally different.
You know, let the slavery conversation be part of a science conversation where you were explaining how, or as a matter of fact, a psychological explanation, where you were explaining how we thought we were different based on appearance, but we're actually not.
Boom.
Scientific.
That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. We should be
you shouldn't have to bash someone to prove to them that their ideology is moronic.
Well, look,
I don't believe that will happen on a large scale, regardless of what truth.
But we got to make sure, though.
I believe it's not going to happen because of the psychology of what has already occurred. The psychology, they're downplaying the psychology of what has already occurred. When we loot our own shit. Not our own shit, but even we maintain it in our neighborhoods. Ain't nobody ever went out to a motherfucking place that's gonna get them fucking shot dead. You get what I'm saying? It's the psychology of what has already happened. It's like it's being downplayed.
Well, so that's what you're talking about. It's a whole other conversation because like that's actually another good episode because if we go back to certain times like in the 60s, like black homeownership rates were extremely high and like pretty close to like white homeownership rates.
For sure.
And so it's like we're not to the point we're at now because black people didn't want to own homes.
Right.
You know, like so how did we get here? And no one
because white people didn't want black people to own homes.
But no one sitting
and telling your white child that is not an effort to get that white child to feel bad, but to not want black people, but to get him to not want black people in the future to not want
that's a
homes.
real conversation.
That's exactly what
that's a real conversation that should be allowed. Because that's something that is a part of history that you can actually bring up, document, and show.
Redlining,
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, telling your white child that ain't in an effort to get your white child to go crying to mommy and say, did you do that or was you a part of that? And you might be a fucking banker. And you be like, nah, I wasn't directly a part of it, but I mean,
happened.
You know what I'm saying? The shit happened, baby.
But your duty is now to inform
clean that up.
Inform your child and inform them That's not how business is conducted. So that the next generation.
And then we might get some change.
Then we might get some shit done. You know what I'm saying? We might get some shit done. That's what it is.
Exactly. You're saying exactly what we're
It's been a pleasure though, my G. I appreciate he's rolling up one. We gonna end this shit 3 hours.
Yeah, we was in it, wasn't we? I appreciate being on your show, man.
We'll
Y'all the only motherfuckers
we'll
I
keep,
know doing